Hello, friends and fellow gamers. I'm That Zero, and today we are back to chat on some more Last Cloudia. On the menu for today, we are doing another Plain Doctor segment, and we are joined by a man by the name of what do you even like being called? Felix or like something else? Something totally different? What do you like?
Nah, Felix is good.
Felix. All right, we got Felix. So, um, I believe I met up when you joined the Discord, right? Or did you come from Reddit? I don't even remember.
Came from Reddit, then I joined the Discord.
All right, cool. All right, sweet. Well, I am obviously logged in here. I have looked at absolutely nothing aside from your obviously home screen here. So I guess we can go ahead and start poking around with some stuff, and then I'd like to know areas specifically where you feel you are struggling or could use advice. So actually, how about we start there, and then we'll start dissecting the crap that you have based on that.
Alright, so I feel like I've hit kind of a stopping point because I can do the campaign. I'm on to God mode in some segments, you could
Okay.
say.
Yep.
But it's difficult, and when I try to do like not equipment grinding, when I try to do EXP grinding, I can't really do it on auto. I have to play sometimes, and even sometimes that doesn't work.
Okay. So setting up an auto team, that will be a huge milestone if you're struggling with that.
Right.
So that'll be great. Okay. Cool. So that will be one thing. What about as far as clearing content? If you're into God mode, have you attempted any of the world bosses? Have you done Tower of Trials and tried to see how far you could get in there?
I've done Tower of Trials. I didn't do too well. Now, the world bosses I have not tried yet,
Okay.
but Tower of Trials I got up to like floor 6,
Floor six?
which,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm guessing you can probably do better than that. But we'll see. I
I
haven't
haven't
I
looked.
haven't looked yet. Are you super fresh? Like when did you start?
I started back in the DMC collab, but I've been
Okay.
kind of on and off since then.
Okay, so relatively casual for the most part.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, let's take a look at what units you're working with and see what you have been building and how those are looking. So, Dante, Nero, Senku, Laodiceus, all great stuff here. Yes, this is starting to ring a bell from when we were talking before. Everything else unbuilt, which is fine. You're focusing on the right units, which is good because none of the rest of these all that fantastic. So
Right.
beautiful. All right. Arks. Let's see what we're looking like here. Um, Mobile office. That's going to come real handy later. I am jealous. I wanted this real bad. Didn't get it.
Really?
Oh, it's yeah, dude. Phone booth
Matching
and
sad. I
phone
wanted V.
phone booth and purple orb. Laugzeus is going to love purple orb, like so much.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you his biggest problem from what I hear is resource regeneration. So his skills take a long time to charge up. So what you do is
Uh-huh.
you use pirate ship, which you also have. So eventually you teach him pirate feast, and then any content that has more than one wave, he starts with max stocks on his skills.
Oh, okay.
So what you do with that is you combo that with purple orb, which gives you an extra stock charge of all your skills.
Right.
So you just get max of those. So when you have him fully built, I believe I heard somebody say that his S3 hits for like almost a million damage if you have him built perfectly, which maybe you don't have the tools for, but eventually you can probably do something close to that. So then just getting 3 charges of his S3, or maybe it's 4. I'm not sure how many he gets innately, but yeah, all his skills are great. So this is going to be great. And then for everybody else, for one wave boss fights, phone booth is super crazy. You get 30 seconds
Uh-huh.
of cooldown on all your abilities, which is just bonkers. So basically, you'd run Pirate Feast, or yeah, Pirate Feast for anything with multiple waves, and you swap it out for Phone Booth on basically any unit for boss fights. So cool. That's great on Nero too, or just like anybody you're trying to run bosses on. So if there's like one wave, single wave multiplayer fights or something, it'll come in handy. So down the road, it'll be really good.
All right. Great.
So nice.
Great.
Um,
Very.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, you've got some key stuff here that makes me very optimistic. Have you done anything in Arena yet? Does Arena even interest you at all?
Arena does interest me, and I'd like to say that I'm decently good at it.
Okay, cool. So you've definitely got some tools that will eventually help you there as well. One, pirate ship is kind of a mainstay. When this is maxed out, it makes it so that for the first 10 seconds of combat, none of your units can get flinched. So
Okay.
in arena, if one player has this and the other does not, the one with it almost always wins. Usually,
Right.
unless you're doing something janky where you're just hyper tanky and then you can kind of catch up later on. But if both
Gotcha.
players, especially early on in arena, if you're both trying to just murder each other, if one people's units are getting flinched and the other isn't, you're just going to have a bad time if you're the one that doesn't have ship. So ship on one of your units is going to be really good. Also, Phoenix Blow. Awaken. In Arena, you want this on all of your units.
Really?
It's basically when you drop down to 30%, it just heals you to full and then gives you a bunch of stat increases in movement speed. So
Oh,
it's basically a free auto heal. It's similar to
right.
if have you run actually, I don't even know if this has it by default. Okay, this isn't even high enough level. So it's a similar effect to what you get with Caladino. When this actually is leveled up and you put it on somebody, one of its effects is when your unit drops down to 30%, you'll basically heal up to full and then get a 1,000 point barrier to soak a little bit of damage and make you flinch
Right.
resistant. So it basically does that, except for 9 points of SC, which is really great. So
That's good.
yeah, good stuff.
Right.
Yeah, one thing I see that will help you in general is, I mean, like you said, you already know you need to get an auto farming team together. When that will be the biggest focus, I think. And when we can do that, you want this to be getting farmed so that you can get this. I'm sure you already know what it is. I probably talked about it. You've probably seen other people talk about it, but it's the most broken
Yeah, it's
item in
got
the game.
quite some hype as the most overpowered weapon in the game,
Yeah,
apparently.
yeah, it's pretty bonkers. It's good. It's real good. But yeah, it'll go great on Nero. It'll just make Nero a complete monster. Like I know you have Dante built up more. Putting it on Nero, I'm guessing will it should just make him be really insane. So, um, yeah. Do you as far as playing them, do you have just a love for Dante over Nero, or he's just who you picked because you just had to pick one, so you picked one? Like,
Well, I kind of I kind of play Dante because I just like his skills more. I
okay,
feel like they hit
cool,
more reliably,
yeah.
and because of his stinger and overdrive, he can play distance. He can close distance fast.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think he's super fun to play. I really enjoy playing him.
Right.
And for a long time, I definitely liked him a little bit more than Nero. Arena has changed it for me because Nero is just insane in Arena. In PvE,
Uh-huh.
it's mostly Helter Skelter. For the most part, his S1 and S2 are kind of blah, but Helter Skelter is one of the strongest moves in the entire game. It's got a massive hit count. It's got a massive multiplier, so you're just going to be doing just crazy numbers. So if basically if you start a wave and he has quick trigger, which gives you the a random skill charge, if it hits Helter Skelter, you probably just insta clear that wave because it's just such a good skill. But in PvE, that's kind of all he has. I don't think his ult is special. I think Overture has very few hits. I think aerial combo feels super duper clunky because it just throws somebody up and does stuff. These things work really good in arena, but in PvE, it's just Helter Skelter. So yeah, I'm kind of similar on Dante. So since you already have him built a bit, not too bad. So let's see, he's sitting at 52 SC, 61 of 108. So you're not even that deep into building him.
Right.
I will say I think that he will plateau and start becoming much less useful until you can get Trishula on him. But there's a few problems with that, which is you'll want him to also be dual wielding. So that's a big benefit Nero has over Dante, is you can just dual wield with him out of the box. So once you get Trishula, he also has machine equip. You can just give it to him, and he's probably just literally going to be better than Dante already.
Okay.
Probably. Especially once you get towards some of the harder stages and get into God mode when things start having elemental resistances and things like that.
Uh-huh.
Let me see. Oh, back on arcs. I don't remember. Did you have Sandworm? Yeah, you're missing Sandworm, so you have to look for that eventually. For Nero, you don't need it because he already has dual wield. But for Lug, eventually you're going to want Sandworm. For Dante, you will probably want it as well. I would say,
Okay.
yeah. So let's take a quick peek So I see you already leveled this a bit, which is great. This is one of the key things usually for trying to make a farming team. This is one of the best spells that you can throw on somebody, so the fact you have it is nice. So that's...
I have a question about that, actually.
Yeah.
So, for Senku, since I have this, should I be using Shiny Monkey's effects, or should I be using the actual equipment?
Shiny Monkey is not a good... Wait, for who? For who are you talking about? For Senku?
Yes, Senku.
Okay, for Senku, like, Shiny Monkey is one of the most super niche skills in the game. The only unit it's worth using it on is Lug. This is all we care about after 3,700 years. The spell. So this is what we care about. This is the thing that's super strong. So that you want to teach to Senku. He's going to be your key to your auto farming. He's going to be real good at it. He might even just be good enough now. But let's take a look at how he is looking. Okay, so sitting at 30 SC. How much of this stuff do you got? Okay. Cool. Equip. Off the gun. Okay. Just trying to see what types of things we have going on. Cover some stuff. Machine boost. Okay, so he doesn't...
Also,
yeah, go ahead.
I have a question. So, I know that the characters that I have, Dante, Nero, Senku, are collab characters. So, the equipment that I have for them, there's no way to level that up anymore, right?
What are you referring to exactly? So like if I go to
gun, sextant, carbon fiber shields, Cavalier.
If they were ones that were upgradable during the event, then yes, there is no way unless that event comes back. But
okay.
But in general, you don't really need it. For the most part, upgrading things usually doesn't give you a ton. Like this, you're probably just missing some stats. Like, it'd probably go up by another 20, maybe 40 strength, which isn't going to make or break anything. It's not going to be that crazy.
All right.
So I wouldn't worry about it too much. And for the most part, event gear like that, it's good early on at your stage, but eventually it's going to get outpaced anyway, and it's going to be maybe used in a very niche scenario or not at all. Like, I recently ran Cavalier on something just because I made a pure auto attack build on V for thunder damage specifically, so I was able to have it.
V?
Yeah, I got V. Yeah, I got all three units. I got 0 arks. I just wanted the arks, and I got all the units.
Literally wanted no arks in every unit. Did not get every unit, and I got an arc.
Yeah, I got... so I went in being like, hey, if I can get phone booth and V, I will be overjoyed. So, of course, my free ticket was Dante. And then I pulled some more. I pulled 3 more Dantes.
Really?
I was like, well, I guess the game wants me to be maining Dante or something. And then one of the random login bonus tickets got me a Nero. So just one of the event tickets, just a random, R event ticket. So I was like,
right.
Okay, I'll take it. I mean, cool. Everybody says he's super dope. And then for V, I was basically grinding to see if I could get enough crystals for like one final pull. And okay. I basically had some of my monster units that were close to 90 but not quite there. I grinded out the event enough to get coins so that I could go buy some potions, spend all my coins on potions in the shop in order to go see if I could get some monsters leveled up. I did that. It took me like an hour or 2 of grinding. This was the day before, like the night that it was going to reset and the event go away completely. So at midnight, I leveled them up. I got my 1,000 crystals per unit, because every time you get a unit to level 100, you get 1,000 gems. So end game, it's one of your only sources of crystals. So I got 2 of my monster units up. I got enough for a pull. 10 pull, I got V. And I was like, well, shit. Now I need to get his prisms, but I just spent all my coins. So for the next hour and a half, I grinded it out until I could get all 3 of his prisms as well. And I was like, well, I'll take it, but now I have to work really hard. So I was up till like 1:30 in the morning before the event went away and the banner disappeared so that I could make sure to get all his prisms. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
you got lucky. I joined right as the event was ending because I seen an ad on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I think I joined like a day or two before it ended,
Yeah.
and I got the ticket summon. I got Nero. I grinded 3,000 gems from story, which took a while,
Yep.
and I got Dante second pull. I got Dante and the arc. I got those two second pull. Then got nothing else for my third pull, and then the event was gone, which is great.
Nice. Nice. Well, I mean, to be honest, getting Nero and the Ark in and of itself is a massive win. Like Dante can be good, but in my opinion, he takes like full on endgame build to really shine. Like just going through campaign is probably good, but I'd imagine as you get into some of the god stages, he has to be feeling a little underpowered. Like
Okay.
I would imagine. I don't know. Is he feeling pretty good still, or is he starting to? I don't know.
I mean, so far
So far, still okay.
for
That's good.
for everything, no, for everything else, he's doing perfect. But when I get to the god stages,
Yeah,
no one's doing any damage.
yeah. Things just get
They're
real damage
surviving,
spongy. Yeah,
but they're not killing,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
quite the issue.
Yeah. So the biggest thing for unlocking the power is one unlocking the ability boards, and right now my suggestion will be to try focusing on Nero. Like I said before, it sucks you started going into Dante, but you're not that far invested into him.
Right.
And I think that for where you are in the game, Nero is going to serve you better, and they're going to be about the same cost to invest in because they both came in. They're both relatively new units coming in the DMC collab. This ability board is the biggest thing, like the most important thing. You want to get him enhanced up to 4, so getting these materials, get him up to 4-star, so that he has his entire ability board available to you. And then
Uh-huh.
on almost every unit, these once you start getting to the outside skills here, when you start filling those out, that's when their power starts to shine. So like even Dante will feel much better than you currently have him because he only has like half his board filled out. So you want to be getting out here and getting all of this stuff because they will feel 10 times better. I mean, initially, this board getting maxed out is probably at least 50% of their power, if not
All
more.
right.
So it is massive, and it will be a big deal. I know when I got Nero, since I've been playing for a long time, I just had the resources to just unlock everything instantly. I went in with him at level 1, just had his entire ability board unlocked, gave him some weapons, and he was just already capping for damage at like 16,999 or whatever his cap is.
Jesus.
He's just his core kit is just stacked to the max. So for a new player, it's exceptionally good. The only thing he needs to transition into endgame is basically Trishula, which you have available on your account, which is awesome. So he's like one of the best. Like he's one of the most new player friendly characters in the entire game.
Got it.
Yeah, definitely. I think that even though he doesn't feel that good right now compared to Dante, he will start feeling better once you start getting into those higher end stages.
But here's what I'm saying, right? It's not that he doesn't feel good. It's like,
He's boring.
no, I just can't hit anything. Like, I know his skills do ridiculous damage,
Yeah,
but because of the way that his skill set just like works,
yeah,
I can't hit anything, especially with enemies that are like huge on buffers. Like once you get to the god stages and the enemies won't let you come near them, they got their ranged enemies.
Oh, sure.
They're just tacking on damage on the Nero, and he can't move.
Mm-hmm. I think
But
it will be better once we can start customizing him with some different stuff. So getting SC up and start getting some arcs leveled up so that you can teach some skills. Because like Pirate Feast will be a big deal for him as well. Much like what I said with Luxeus. Just because his, like I said, his S3 is where his power really comes in. And if you can clear the first wave of content, and then you get to the second and every preceding wave, and he can use Helter Skelter, like 1 or 2 of them right away, you will just be clearing things like nobody's business. He just charges in and annihilates everything. So Being able to build around that is kind of the key to him in PvE, I think. Another thing that will help with that is, let's see your other arcs here. Trying to find ways to get his. Sorry, let me back up. So if the idea with Nero is to try to abuse his S3 as much as possible, we need to have ways to get stuff back. So Pirate Feast is one, but for the first wave of combat, there's different things you can do for that as well, which is you can run skill charges, which gives you 20 seconds back of a skill. I don't remember which is here. So this is skill charge 2, which isn't bad. That will be good to put on him, because even if it's not his best skill, his S2 still pulls in an enemy and then hits pretty hard, so you could potentially snag a kill with it. And we want to see if you have pose for honor. It does not look like you have pose, so that will be a good thing to be able to get. There are, let me see if I can find, actually hold on one sec, let me Google something. Are you aware of Last Cloudia gold mine?
I am.
Beautiful. Okay, just making sure. Some people do not, so I always need to ask.
Right.
All right, so yeah. Post for Glory is only on SSRs. But I can show you an example of what skills I am talking about in general so that you know to keep an eye out for them. So, flower. So this is pose for honor. There is pose for honor, pose for glory, pose for something else. Any of these skills with honor has to do with MP. So whenever you defeat an enemy, so just kill something, a small enemy, a big enemy, whatever, you get 5% MP. Pose for glory is blue, and it says whenever you kill something, take 5 seconds off all your cooldowns. So when you can do that, you start kind of steamrolling through stuff, and it helps a ton. So you could use a skill charge on something like an S2, and you could pull things into you, get a kill, and then charge up things a little bit more, and then be able to have that kind of chain into killing more things until you can get a Helter Skelter and just completely wipe everything else out. So,
right. Okay.
And this stuff, anything I say for Nero, could totally be applicable for Dante as well. I agree, his whole kit feels holistically a bit better than Nero. So you can take this stuff for him as well.
Yeah, I just feel like Nero's kit is a little wonky, but if he's better.
Yeah, I poo-pooed him for a very long time. I still don't love running him in PvE, to be honest. But I appreciate him in general because he helps people to hit those big PP damage numbers, even if he's clunky to use. So if he's just not fun to use, then hey, my other thing is I always advocate for fun over meta, but if you are strictly wanting what is the most powerful thing technically going to be for your current account, it is probably Nero, because you at least have the thing to get him up there, which is Trishula. Lug and Dante, they want Trishula, but they also want dual wield. And you also need machine equip to even use Trishula, which Nero comes with. Let me see here. And you don't currently have an arc to give machine equip. So, Dante doesn't need it either. Dante can equip any weapon, which is super dope. But Lug can't even use it right now. So Lug would basically just be a caster right now, which is kind of meh.
I saw something.
Yeah.
And I kind of needed it explained.
Okay. When
I was working on Lug, I found that he can only equip accessories.
Yeah, at base. That's what his is. So you need to teach him whatever weapon skills you want him to learn. So that's all on these different things. So like Miracle of the Gourd, if you want to give him a hammer, you have to come teach him hammer equip. So whatever weapons you want him to use, it costs 2 SC per weapon. So you just have to come in, you have to level up the arcs for it. Hammer equip comes from here. There's like a broken sword something or another somewhere. I don't know. You can look through the different skills. You can go on gold mine and you can look for equips and find them. But unfortunately, machine equip, I believe, is only on SSRs. There's 2 different ones for it, but you have to luck into getting the correct SSRs in order to have access to that. So in general, Yeah, I don't think Luke's going to be that incredibly crazy for you. I mean, maybe compared to Dante. Like, if you had him at exactly the same power level as you do for Dante, enhance-wise, the amount of kit unlocked, he probably would be outperforming Dante, I would think. But I don't think he would outperform Nero if Nero was powered up to the same level as Dante, just because you can give him Trishula.
Okay.
So,
And so, I actually have a question.
yes.
So, one of the poses, I don't remember which one it was, but it's one of the ones that I have.
Okay.
You said it gives you 5 MP for each enemy you kill.
Yes.
So, I also noticed that Luke has a skill. Well, yeah, skill. It's a passive. He uses 5% of his MP to do 50% more damage.
Yes.
So, would those two be compatible?
100%. Yes, definitely. It's very good.
Okay.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, you would leech some of your MP in order to hit harder, and then whenever you snag kills, you'll just be bumping your MP back up so that it's kind of a balancing act going back and forth, which is great.
Right.
So yes, I absolutely suggest when you get to the point later down the line of building Lug and making him great, yeah, Pose for Honor is going to be great to go with Sharp Eyes, for sure. And Sharp Eyes in general is an amazing skill that you'll probably want to teach to different units when you can get it, but like many things, it's strapped to an SSR, which you only have a handful of right now. So, yeah, anyway, moving along. So just before I move on completely, this is another arc that when you're looking at Arena, this is a super amazing arc. It's one of the best DPS arcs that you can do. So you throw this on Nero, and basically this restoring SET of all your skills just means that you get to use a bunch of abilities at the beginning of the match, which is great. So somewhere down the road, when this arc gets leveled up, go ahead and do that. Use this on somebody. It's fantastic. So good arc to have on the account. Honestly, pretty much almost every single account arc that you have on your account is really great. Like, Militia is a little bit niche. Venom Dragon is a tad bit blah, but not too bad. God of the Dead is a little bit niche too, but the rest of these are all like super high tier arcs, which is awesome. So,
well, that's good.
Yeah, so cool stuff. Okay, so one of the other things that I want to look at is how are your soul spots doing? Do you have all the soul spots unlocked? Okay, looks like you're leveling them up. So, like, it's getting there. Yeah, I would definitely continue to level some. This looks like... Okay, that's pretty high. That's pretty good. I would definitely level some of these up as well, but looks like you're at least on your way. You are not ignoring them, which is great. You do have to get through more campaign, though. I wouldn't worry about doing hard and God mode at all right now. I would just get through all of normal so you can get all your soul spots, because there are many of these, and you do not have enough. I think there's like 5 or 6 of these and at least like 4 or 5 of the red ones. You want all of those. That will help you in this game a ton. Because your soul regeneration is not on point. It'll help you to teach people skills. It'll help to level up your arcs. So definitely get through the rest of normal if you can. That will be huge, 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 huge. Conquer. Where's your Conquer stuff at? You've unlocked some of these. That's good. That's good. This, you also get another slot of this when you get far enough through campaign. So this is another area that will be good. Literally lets you use the same exact units, which means you can be gaining 8 souls a day instead of just 4. So,
okay.
Yeah, so definitely getting through campaign and then coming here to grab that. And I'd say this is perfect, though, leveling up souls for them. That is exactly what I'd be doing. And then you just put the same 4 in the other slot as well. Great, great, great. Arena, already got your rewards. That's awesome. All right, let's go see what we can do for Senku, because he looks not even close to qualified for maging right now. So, yeah, I mean, you just kind of have stuff on him to have stuff on him at the moment. So the main thing we're going to want to do is buff his int a lot. So that's the main thing. And also, obviously, teach him after 3,700 years. Let's see what equips we have here. Int up. Healing Wand, Traveler Staff. What's this even do? It's just got some stuff. I'll have to get back to you on good stuff. Right now, the 50 MP on this, pretty much as good as you're going to get. So it's good enough. Good enough for now. But eventually, you'll want to look for a staff with high int.
Okay.
But for now...
I haven't really worked on Senku as much as I've worked on the others.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, same here. I guess right here, probably do this just because at least it gives him some int. It's better than the default gear. What do these things do? Magic science damage. Cool, that sounds great. This. Int. What do we got for int? Ooh, William Blake poems. Good you got that. That's actually pretty good for some people down the road. Dr. Faust is pretty nice. Not really much going on other than that. William Blake's might be okay. I don't know. I don't have Senku, so I don't know what all his skills do. But getting a little extra cooldown on them wouldn't be too bad. This is another thing that you could do as well for either Nero or Dante. You just put this on them. Looks like it's already on Dante, which is perfect. I'm guessing you've got that and Faust on Dante? Yeah, perfect. That's great. That's great.
So, did you get any of the stone units?
The stone units? Yeah, I have... Well, I was around way back when they did the first run, and I got Kohaku. And then this time around, I whiffed on everything, but my free unit was Gen, which is the only thing I wanted. So, or the main thing that I wanted. So I got the
Gen?
Yeah, Gen is... He's stupid good.
I wanted Gen and Chrome.
Yeah, Chrome. Yeah, for your account, Chrome would be insane. For a brand new account, Chrome is absolutely gross. He's so good.
Oh, great to know that I don't have him.
Yeah, you're welcome. For me though, like by late game, he kind of becomes useless in my opinion. Like once you have all your ducks in a row and you can do other things to farm, like you don't really need it anymore. So, speaking of farming, before I forget, I want to come back over here and check how one thing is doing because there's a surprising amount of people that just don't know. Beast Hunter, are you aware of why this matters?
Not at all. Not in the slightest.
Beautiful. Cool. So you can build a farming unit in order to go and have chances of stealing items from enemies, which, in case you didn't know, individual enemies can only ever drop 2 items at most. One on death, which is just a chance. You have no way of modifying the on death chance. And 1 stealable item. So people will run rogues like Robin or Chrome's effect of every wave you have a chance to get an item, or Yashumaru, which is somebody that steals when he does a certain type of attacks or kills people. Those are ways that you could get extra drops. So when you're manually farming, it's just a way to kind of maximize the things you are getting. Well, Beast Hunter, first of all, there's very few arcs that are like this, but some of them have this little arc skill thing here. So this arc skill, they have this special little tab, which means when you're in game and this is equipped, you can go into your magic menu and use this one time in that stage. And what the skill does is it says, hey, you have a chance to just have that stealable item drop from all the enemies at the stage you're currently on, which is really cool. Well, you can get this once it's up to level 10, which is the highest it will go. It's 100% chance. So what you do when you need crystal clusters and such is you go into this here event tab, go into training. These grand ability gates, when you have your team strong enough, you want to be doing all 3 of these available every day. And basically you will go into this, you will get to the final stage where the boss is, and you use a level 10 Beast Hunter. It guarantees you a drop, which means with how these have been currently tuned, every run of this basically gives you, I think, 3 of whatever color you're running and 1 rainbow cluster, which, as you've been looking through your ability tree, you probably have seen clusters are not super common to come by. So being able to basically get 9 of a color of your choice every day this runs, pretty great. And you don't need a farming unit for it. You just need the arc leveled up. So I will show you how to level that, though, because the UI is kind of janky in this game and not explained super duper well. So you do that with extending. Have you done any extending at all before?
No, I don't know what it does.
Beautiful. So you come in here, first of all, you get extensions whenever you get a dupe. So you have gotten 5 copies of Beast Hunter before. You have the base one, and you have +4 for these other things. Now, these extend points can be used in different ways. You can permanently increase the stats it gives to your units, and then you'll see this goes down. You can increase the level of an arc skill if it has one. Or, and this will be for something later on down the line, you can come in here and these skills, the AP rate, do you know what this actually does technically?
Doesn't that like increase the rate at which you gain points for the skills of the arc?
Yeah, so when you are trying to teach something to someone, every time you run a stage, just a normal campaign stage, you get 1 AP, and that 1 gets multiplied by this number, and then whatever you get gets added to this total, and once you hit this number, they learn the skill. Well, there's other events you can do every day when you're strong enough to do them. These skill study dungeons, if you come in and you do the level 80 of this, which you can already complete, so you should be doing this every day probably, assuming you have skills to teach, you come in here and run this, and instead of getting 1 AP, you get 18 AP. So that 18 that you get from that skill gets multiplied by whatever this multiplier is. So 18 times 8 is how many you get added to this. So you can imagine you save a boatload of souls when you can run. It's like the equivalent of running it 18 times, but you only spent souls for a single run. So when you eventually get to the point of teaching people level 10 skills, those skill dungeons are going to be super invaluable for saving on souls. And what you can do with this is you can come in and you can actually spend these extends to bump that modifier up. So now, instead of 18 times 8, you can have 18 times 16, in which case you learn that skill even faster.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, it's very, very cool. So it's not relevant right now, probably. But down the line, after you play for a long time, you eventually get to this point of what I call like the luxury account experience, where like for me, if I have any skills that I want to teach on people because I've just gotten dupes, or I can throw... I can just do things to extend them more. I can usually go into a skill dungeon, like what's up right now, and we get 3 of them in the day, and I could just teach 3 people 3 10-level skills, and then just rotate through arcs. It just takes a single run, and I just instantly learn the high-tier skill, because I just have the modifiers bumped up on them. So you'll eventually get there too. Yeah, so it's super duper nice. So it costs almost no souls to teach people super high-tier skills. So eventually... you will get there. So you have that to look forward to. So that'll be cool. But for now, the main thing is arc skill. You want to be trying to get this up to level 10. So we're going to say okay to that. Please. Oh, did you log into the game?
I did not.
No? Oh, okay. Just a bug then. Usually that's what it looks like when we log in a different device. So I'm going to have to log back in. Buggity
I only have
bugginess.
Discord open though.
What's that?
I only have Discord open.
Cool. Yeah, that's fine. It can be buggy. After this last update, I've had it happen on mine as well. Like, pre this update, I have not had too many issues, but after this one, I think I've had like 4 or 5 times now where I was just randomly logged out, even though I didn't sign in elsewhere. In the middle of a quest. Oh, okay. Abort the quest. I don't know why it says abort quest. We were not in a quest at all. It's acting as though you were auto-farming or something. Weird. That's right, we'll just edit this out of here.
I guess that's what you have to do.
Oh, man.
Because I logged off once I gave you the information.
Yeah, that's fine. Like I said, I've had some bugginess on my account too since this update. It happens.
That's weird.
Doesn't help emulator super duper slow. I just use this when I need to use somebody else's account and have things look nice, because the resolution's really good. Frame rates are just garbage. Load times are even worse. But okay. Yeah. Back to where we were. Arcs. So, coming down here, we are looking at Beast Hunter. So, we are extending... now, I said this is the amount of extend points you have. There's this little plus here. This is how you spend Stardust. You currently don't have any, which is big sad. That's really rough. I'm not that surprised. You are relatively new and casual, but if you ever see these things in like an event shop for participating that you can spend event coins on, or basically any free resources that you have to be able to trade for these, you should do.
So I saw some of those in the arena trading shop.
I probably wouldn't do arena. Just because you want to at least make sure that you get some of the other cool stuff out of there, which we can go transition over there in a minute and go look at that too, so that you can see what stuff I would prioritize if you would like that sort of thing. Eventually, yeah, probably worth to get Beast Hunter up. Yeah, I don't know. I will have to see what the actual cost is on it, but it might be worthwhile. But yeah, basically when you use them, it gives you extra extends. And it's going to take to get Beast Hunter up, it's probably like 40 or 50 total points you have to put into this. So you'll see the first couple of levels, it just takes a single to get up, and then it takes half. Now we're up to here. Now it's probably going to take 3 or 4, and it's going to become exponentially more. And level 10 is probably going to take like 20 of them by itself or something. But it's 100% worth it. It's if you get any SR Stardust, you put it in Beast Hunter, because the sooner you get to level 10, the sooner your resource gains are going to be more consistent and feeling good, feeling very good. Okay, now let's take a peek. Have you by chance seen my ether farming video?
I did not.
Okay, cool. So I'll show you the main stage that you care about for auto farming. You have one goal, and when you can do this to get your auto farming team up, consider it like a massive milestone, and you should be super duper proud that you can make it work. Oh, you're actually here. You might not actually have it unlocked yet, but so Groggia Mountains. Yeah, you have to get through campaign, which is fine. So for right now, basically, there's a stage that's here on hard mode is going to be called Imperial Guard Commander 3. And basically, it drops a whole ton of stuff. It's one wave, so if you can get Senku to just one-shot it with after 3,700 years, you clear it in like 2 to 5 seconds, maybe, if you can one-shot it.
Oh, after 3,700 years, what is that?
Let's go take a peek. It is an earth spell, so you put it on the unit, you cast it, and then it does some damage. Which we could just I mean, we could probably put it on.
Wouldn't Self Arena or Helter Skelter also work?
Yes, except you can't have a instant charge of a skill that instantly kills everything. Like that's the problem you would have to solve. Is one, having a charge of the skill that can one-shot everything, and then 2, you need to be able to have the AI be smart enough to do it for you.
Right.
So the goal is when you're on auto, not manually playing, so you're off doing work, or maybe you have it running on an emulator on your computer or whatever, the AI has to be smart enough, and your unit has to be strong enough that it does what it needs to do most of the time to instantly clear the wave. If you're going in and just having them smack stuff and then kill something after 30, 40 seconds, maybe even a minute plus, it's not going to feel that efficient. But if you can manage to get something like this built up so that you can clear it very quickly, then it will feel much better. So let's see if there is... Maybe we can teach something quick to some people. I don't want to waste too much stuff here, but let's see what we can actually do. All right, so you have 2 of these right now. Do these have definitive things you're using them for right now? I assume this is your main squad that you're using.
Oh, I was actually using the Shin squad.
Okay.
Before I got low, and that's really it.
Okay.
I just had 2 of the squads filled out. Why? I don't know.
Cool. Okay. So one more piece of advice I will give is when you are going through campaign, you want to be conserving as many souls as you can so that you can be upgrading your soul spots. So I'd recommend not having these leveled up. You can actually click down here if you did not know, and you can actually drop them down to level 1, which, as you can see, uses immensely less of your souls. So every stage you
Okay.
run, you're only losing 15 instead of losing 125 for just this one unit. So if you can complete it while your arcs are on level 1, you should be doing it. Because
So
this
I
will just
did
save a
see
ton.
that, but I didn't know what dropping the levels did. I
Yep.
thought it would take away the skills that you had earned from it, which
Um,
is why I have not been doing it.
Gotcha. Yeah. So basically, when you have your arc leveled and you run it with leveled, that determines the AP that you can get. So right now, if you're trying to teach HP up 3 to Dante, you have to run it at level 4. And it looks like you only need one more run, and then he learns HP up 3. And then after that, there's no reason to do it other than this effect could get better, and the stats will get better. So if we look at status, so this says it's giving plus, 100 whatever here, like 60 strength and whatever. If we bump this down to, oh, I clicked the wrong thing. Sorry about that. If we drop this down and then look, now it's only adding 300 health and only 30 strength and things like that. So the stats on it get better when you run it higher, and you're enabled to learn higher level skills. But the cost is also much, much higher. So literally a third of the cost right now to run it at level 1, which is great. And your souls are very valuable because you want, just like investing in real life, you want to keep pumping them into your soul spots. So,
Right.
yeah, priority 1 right now is definitely getting through normal mode so that you can get all your soul spots and then leveling them up. Because without that, you're going to feel like you're hemorrhaging as far as like power level on your units, because you're not going to be able to level up arcs. You're not going to be able to teach things from your arcs to units. And that's where some of your other power can kind of come from, is like if you don't have the resources to unlock pieces of their ability board, maybe you can at least teach them a couple of key skills to make them feel stronger at base. So let's see if we can find some examples of things you can teach cheaply, which is things that you want to usually look for. So I don't remember if Nero comes with machine boost, but if he doesn't, you can teach that to him pretty cheaply here, which is really good.
So, question:
Yes.
does stuff like machine boost, sword boost, does that stack?
Yes. Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yeah, the only stuff that does not stack is any sort of buffs or debuffs that share an icon. So, like, when you're in game, if you have Brave on your character, you either cast Brave or whatever it might be, and you get a strength up on your unit, it shows as a little icon on your screen. If somebody uses Grand Brave, you get the same exact icon, it just gives you better stats, but those are not stacking because it's the same exact effect. So fast Brave, or in this case, so some units you can use the magic spell critical, and that'll give you plus 15% crit rate. This fast critical you should probably have on any of your DPS units, so if Dante doesn't know it, he should probably have it, because it's only cost 2. And this says auto-activate critical, so this is the equivalent of somebody casting critical on you. So if you have critical already on your character, this won't do anything because this is just applying critical to them. And it just applies the 15% extra crit rate, which on... Let's go back over to Nero real quick. So Nero, in his ability board, I'm guessing you're not far enough to actually have it unlocked. So fast critical on him will also be very good. But eventually you can see he has Auto Brave. So that just means he has a persisting strength plus 20% up at all times once you unlock this. And it never goes away. It does not stack with any other Brave effects. Stronger ones can override it, but this base effect is just always happening. He also has auto critical, which means he always has a plus 15 crit bonus, and he doesn't need something like fast critical anymore, or somebody to use critical on him to get that elevated crit chance. So those are some things that are not on a lot of units, and is just part of one of the reasons why he's so good, because you get some crap like that for free, which is nice.
Nice.
Yeah, so if you want a breakdown of some of that stuff, in my Discord, I have a bookmarks channel, and in that bookmarks channel, there is, let's see, one of the links is called Understanding Skills. It was made by a community, a person in the community, I think it was Kim, I think probably Kim made it, but it's a super great resource, and it tells you what things stack, what exactly they do, and kind of explains a lot of this stuff, because Adis doesn't do a very good job of explaining a lot of stuff in this game. So I would definitely check that resource at some point, and that will help you to better understand some of these skills and how you can leverage them. All right. What else do we got going on here? So you're in Arena a little bit. Soul Spots campaign is a big thing. Yeah, getting your... All right, so I think auto farming probably isn't that huge of a deal right now for you, because you're not strong enough, or at least not far enough in the game to get to some of the key farming places. But I'm not used to looking at an account a little bit as fresh as this, so I'm not sure what all resources that are actually needed. So maybe some of these other ones might be viable for you to farm. So for instance, this one. Normally you would do this on hard, which I don't know if you have. Okay, so this is technically here. So until you get Imperial Guard Commander, this could actually be your farming stage. So it's cool that this is unlocked already. This is very, very similar. It's not quite as good, but it is similar. It's only one wave. And you can get... Wait, I feel like this isn't right. I swear it had better drops than this. Yeah, it's not nearly as cool. Yeah, Imperial Guard Commander is just better. But anyway, this is still something that you can farm if you just have nothing better to do and you just want to sit and auto farm, because it is only one wave. So if you can get a mage built to be able to use a spell and instantly clear it, you could do it here. And the reason for doing the auto farming is you'll get some XP for completing it, you'll get some Zell for completing it, which, you know, you'll need that gold for various things in the game, and then you'll also get some of these resources, which at your level, probably use a bunch of these. I mean, you have a fair amount of these, but eventually you will need them, and these crystals you will need as well, because these are for actually leveling up the nodes on your unit skill tree. So eventually, that'll be good. Plus XP potions are nice too, just to be getting. Another option for auto farming, Port Miguel. You're not going to get a ton of XP or gold out of this, but you can still get Ether Reward progress. So again, if you just need something that's easy to clear, it is an option. I believe this World Tree might also be one, and this is actually a place where you can get some of these cluster drops.
Okay. Wow.
So, and you can see you cleared this in 18 seconds just when you were doing it before, which is, you know, not that incredibly long, and you weren't trying to min-max and get the best time possible. So I'd imagine that early on, this is probably a decent stage to auto, because there's just a wide variety of things here, and if you're just passively autoing, it might not have the best drop rates, but if you're running this for 4 hours a day, 8 hours a day or something, whether you got it on like an emulator on the PC or you have your phone sit while you're at work, like, it's going to accumulate, and you're going to feel like you're getting much better. Like, your supplies and resources will feel much better. So this might be the best place for you to start at, when we can get that going. And you might be able to clear that now with some of this stuff. So, you know what? I think I'm going to... Do you mind if I just go teach that to Senku quick?
Oh, no, you're fine. Go ahead.
We're going to go into this training tab. We're going to go into Super Skilled Dungeon. You've already completed this. Do you remember if this was relatively easy to complete or if it was kind of hard?
Okay, here's the thing.
Did you just crutch on a friend unit?
I don't know, because
Fair enough.
when I play it on auto, I pass.
Cool.
When I
Where
play
is
it
this?
myself, sometimes I pass, sometimes I fail. Has nothing to do with the friend unit, because I use no support. So I don't know.
Okay. Well, there's going to be parts in the campaign that if you struggle, don't be afraid to lean and abuse friend unit, because there's some spots in the game where it feels like it was kind of balanced around it. Just a bit. So, since we're running this, let's see what kind of stuff we can teach the units. First most important thing, or one of the more important things, is actually putting the skill that we want onto your dude. Here. Nope, missed it. There we go. Cool. Oh, and it's almost taught to him anyway. Cool, so that's going to be taught. We don't need to waste all these souls. I'm going to drop it down to 6 so that that's being taught. Sweet. What do we have for these? What does this have on it? Mimicry Undead. Looks pointless. We're not going to teach anything there. Skills that are good to know. Oh yeah, it reset all my game settings when I restarted. That's weird. Let's see if I can find some different things that you will be wanting in general. So this will be a good one probably for Senku eventually. Moonlight is quite good. Moonlight will...
Wait.
Huh?
Hold on. I'm hearing game audio now.
Oh, cool.
You fixed something.
Sweet. Coming through.
Fantastic.
Beautiful. All right, so eventually this one will be a good one to level up. Moonlight will be nice to throw on Senku. It'll make his damage more reliable. Increases int when you're at max HP. This will stack with Aura, which is the equivalent to Brave. Basically a temporary boost that gives you a plus 20%. This, I think, is an extra 20 or 30%, but only at max HP. So if you take 1 tick of damage, it shuts off. But if the goal is...
So, yeah, that's...
Go ahead.
That's a thing I noticed. And I have a question about that. Are max HP like passives worth it? Because some of them have like big PP like damage, health, whatever. But if you get hit by a stray arrow in the knee or something, it's basically done for your whole operation.
Yeah, it's all contextual. I don't think there's that many of them. I mean, there is like there's like Proud, which increases your strength, and Ardor, which is a critical rate up, which
right.
at your level, if you don't have a ton to throw on a unit, it probably is worth. The main thing is being able to get some survivability on your units. So this is a great arc to start with for that. So not only is there Ardor, if you get this only up to level 3, that's all it takes. Proud Force is self-sustain. So every time that you score a critical, every individual critical hit will heal you a small amount based on your mind stat. So you can put that on people so that they can hopefully stay up. Like, you'll be taking some hits and then gaining HP back up. And then if you can manage to be topped up on HP, then you'll get this extra 10% critical chance. You'll get Dante's Proud ability, because I think he comes with that, which boosts his strength. So that can be a thing.
I'm seeing a lot of like passive combos, and I'm not liking it. I'm gonna have to use like big brain strategies and stuff.
I mean, not really, but I'm just trying to go through some of the different things that you can do. Proud Force in general, though, the main idea is you throw this on a unit that has crit chance, like Nero, because Nero has crit stuff built in, and then this is now self-sustain, which he might even have Proud Force in his kit. I don't know. I don't have that memorized. But basically, you build crit chance, and then you put this on people, and then they just heal themselves when they're killing things, which is cool. So, yeah, that is a thing that you can do, which is nice. Let's see. You have your... oh, right down here. Oh, my God. Ugh. I'm not liking being on the computer. Okay. This. Okay, you already have fast critical. That's cool. Sword boost could be good on Dante, because I think he wants to use swords eventually. Eventually, Advanced Aim Vitals will be good on him too. This just increases the damage of your criticals. But for now, we do not have it leveled. Surprise attack. Looks like everything's pretty much taught to Dante already, which is cool. Skill charge 1 will be very nice. I would probably...
I don't know if you could tell, but Dante's my favorite.
Yes.
Could you tell? Yes,
he is your most built, for sure. So let me see here. Let me see if you have enough souls, because this shouldn't cost very much. Anytime you can get skill charges on people, they're just going to feel so much better. So Terror of the Granaseas, where is it? Here. Cool. So this one, do you mind if I level this up once?
Go ahead.
All right. So we're going to bump that up, unlocking skill charge 1 for you, which is great. Gonna be awesome. I also want to see where your Kaladina's level is at, how far away from a skill charge it is. If it's like 7, we won't waste any souls on it. Hey, look at that. You got some gems, too. Yay. Things and stuff. Alright. So, now you have a skill charge 1 unlocked, which I would put on each of your units, mainly Dante, since he's your main right now. How far away is Kaladina? Level 6. You're not going to have enough for it, but it's probably worth trying to get up there. Because getting skill charge 1 and 2 will probably make things feel pretty nice. Alright. I keep squirreling. We're going to come back over here. We're going to do this training dungeon. I would like at the end of this for you to hopefully at least have a chance at full autoing a crappy stage. Like, just let's get you there for now. And then you can keep leveling up Senku, empowering him up further so that you can do some other stuff. So he's going to learn that. Dante, he's your main. He's going to learn skill charge 1. Nero, fuck if I know. Kind of stuff.
Okay.
What kind of stuff can he learn off of here that's going to be worthwhile? Any other skills? I just don't want to waste, like, if we're already running a skill training dungeon, like, we may as well get something. Looks like he kind of just taught all the basic things that you kind of can.
So, wait, I have a quick question about AI and Senku in general.
Okay.
So, when I put auto on, or I just have the AI running Senku while I play someone else, the AI will continuously spam generator, and that's it.
Okay.
It won't use the cooking gunpowder. It won't use sulfurina. Sometimes it uses sulfur drug.
Yep.
But whenever I pick Senku, he just has like all his skills filled to the max.
Yep. So reason for that. Strength proportional to int. If a unit has more strength than int, like at least probably 20 to 30% more, they will focus on using skills. At least usually, most of the units, this will be the case. They will focus on using skill charges when they are up. If you have int higher, then they will focus on doing magic damage. So they will try to use any magic that they have for it. If, for instance, you have int be higher and you have no magic equipped, they will still want to be using magic, but the AI won't be able to find any magic to use, so it'll just sit there using auto attacks. So, yeah, so when it comes to AI, it's not super smart because you can't manually program it. You need to kind of just tune your stats to do what you want. So your current stat spread is actually good because we're going to be wanting him to use a magic skill to quick clear things. In your case, obviously, he wasn't supporting as well as you wanted. I don't have Senku, so I don't have a proper feel of exactly how his AI works like that. I would guess maybe there's certain conditions they have programmed in where, like, oh, hey, if somebody's extra weak, he'll use something that does some healing, maybe, but I don't know. It could also just be really trash AI, and you're supposed to just manually do it yourself. I have no further knowledge on that, because I don't own him, but...
Right. So that's another thing. Normally, I'll just play Senku myself, because the AI is really, really bad at using him.
Okay.
But with that comes another issue.
Okay.
This is probably a same quirk of the AI that we were just talking about, just reversed. But on Dante and Nero, I have really powerful magic skills because I've had them for a long time, and I've just been grinding arks with them. So I have really powerful magic skills. Like Dante has Meteor Rain and Thunder Gauge.
Yep.
Nero has, I think, Dark Cloud and some poison skill.
Yep.
And these do crazy amounts of damage. If I can catch, like, I mostly use them in arena, because in arena I just quickly switch back and forth between my characters.
Yep.
If I can catch a whole group within Thunder Gauge or just use Meteor Rain, then they're down and everybody's reviving. But they never use that. They only use the stock skills, and even those they use very sparingly.
Yeah. So a few things with that. One, like I said, it's all about the stat spread. They have high strength, so they're going to try to use skills. They're not made to do magic at all. Like you're in general, like being early in the game as you are, I can see them probably doing some fair damage. But for the way that they are going to be built, compared to what their skills can do, magic will do almost no damage. So, like, as good as they feel, your unit skills will be far superior in every way. Far, far, far better. So I understand the appeal of them, and if they're working in PvE at this stage, that is good. In PvP, if they're doing damage, I don't know how, to be honest, because magic does like minus 95% damage in PvP. Their main use is to just stun people. So if you're doing meteor rains and things, they can't attack you, and they're just kind of getting juggled, and then your units can go in and slap them around, and then they get hit by your attacks, and then they die because they're stunned by all the magic. But as far as damage, the magic almost never does much damage, or it shouldn't. Maybe in like earlier levels, the I don't know. I guess I haven't been down there in a while, so like maybe it's a little bit better if there's like low level units or something. But in general, there's a scaling thing for magic, so it does almost no damage in PvP.
So that I find interesting.
Me too.
Could you explain to me why that is? Because
why you're actually doing lots of damage?
No, why there's a cap on like magic damage?
Because if there wasn't, it would be stupid broken. Because it provides ridiculous amounts of crowd control. Like if you throw a lightning gauge on a group of enemies and they're not immune to flinching for some reason, they simply can't move anymore, which means your units get to attack them and they don't get to fight back anymore. So like that by itself is such a huge boon to your team. If they also did damage, you'd never need to run a physical damage dealer ever again.
Right, but that's another thing that I realized. Like in PvP, they just really hate magic. They curse all forms of magic because the MP meter in PvP, it doesn't start at full like it does in PvE.
Yep.
It slowly ticks up.
Yep.
Which I'm guessing is to stop, like, let's say my team, for example, I'm guessing it's to stop Dante just instantly thunder gazing the whole enemy team.
Yeah.
But if that's the case, the damage cap being lower also makes no sense to me. So, is it just that magic is really broken and they're trying to balance it, or is it just
yes
they want to discourage magic?
It is hyper broken. So yeah, at the stage you are in, you cannot feel it yet. But it is very, very broken in general. So the like I said, when people are getting hit by magic, if they can't fight back, you just win. And also there's certain spells that hit the entire board, and they can only, I call them taking up the cast space. And that's things like Blizzard, or Crimson Flare is another one. Somewhere down the line, Lug is going to learn something called Black Hole. And basically,
I did see that earlier.
Yeah, so skills like that, only one of those can exist at a time. So what happens in PvP is you try to get MP the quickest, and you try to have the fastest cast speed on someone so that you can get the first of that type of skill, and then you have that going. The opponent's casters can't use that magic, and they will just sit there doing nothing. So then your magic is happening, all their units are stunned and can't fight back, and then by the time your animation for that spell ends, hopefully you're built well enough that you can cast another one and you just lock them out of the game completely, while your physical damage dealers go and mop people up.
Right, so that is another thing that I did realize. So when I have Dante, and he's doing Thunder Gauge or Meteor Rain, which is another one of those full board skills you were talking about.
Yep.
When he does either of those, Nero just doesn't move, and neither does Lou. They stay in the back. I mean, I can understand it for Senku because he's ranged, but they won't move. They'll just sit there until the attack is over. And
are you
trying
to get them to cast spells at the same time, or what? Like they're just not going and attacking things?
I just want them to like rush in, deal some damage.
Okay, okay, you will have to check. You will have to check on your device. I wonder if you disabled any AI stuff, because they should definitely be going in and like using skills and using basic attacks at the very least. Like AI's.
They do it at every other time, but whenever I use like
magic on Dante, they'll stay back. I
Okay.
don't know why.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know. But my biggest advice will be the only person casting should probably be Senku if you're using magic. He's just better built for it. And if Dante or Nero is doing good damage, Senku's damage will be way higher.
Okay.
They are just not meant to be casting. They're meant to be doing physical damage to people and getting in their face and using their skills.
Right, I get that. But there's one problem. I have no clue where I got Thunder Gauge from. Which I think would be very useful to Senku. I just don't know where I got it from.
Sure.
I don't know where I got a bunch of my high level magic from.
Okay, so one thing that you can do is, again, check out Goldmine. You can go to skills, just type in Thunder Gauge or Lightning Gauge. It'll tell you all the sources that exist, and then you can just compare them to your list. But something else you can do as well is you can come in and I can say party, and this is one where we're trying to learn stuff. If I come in here to choose an arc, they just added with this last update a filter for unlearned only. So if there's any of these that you haven't learned yet, they will be the ones that show up in the list. And I can change this.
Okay, that's interesting.
Can change this view here, and then I can start scrolling down and just look and see what kind of stuff you actually have. So quickly I can see. So first of all, Sorcerer's Eden. When this gets leveled, you want to teach, basically have it at level 10 and teach Senku all this stuff. Magic Up can be good. Fast Aura is that 20% buff to int. Magic Up is like a 15% buff to int, so those will help with his damage. Let's see.
This game hurts my brain.
There is definitely a lot. So there's Thunderbolt. Lightning Gauge, this is one source of Lightning Gauge. Have to have it leveled up more, though. So that's probably not where your dude learned it from. Lightning Gauge. God of Storms. It's right here. So there you go. So then you can so then you can teach that to him.
So it's an SR skill?
Yeah, why?
Because the way it was dealing damage was ridiculous.
Yeah, it's just because you're early on, honestly. This is not that strong of a skill. Generator is far, far higher damage than this.
Okay.
Immensely higher. Yeah, so like I wouldn't even teach this to Senku, because Generator will do way more damage than this. It'll take a longer time to cast because it's more powerful, though. So like in PvP, Lightning Gauge is much better than Generator because it costs less MP, and you can cast it faster.
But everything seems to take 10 years to cast.
Yes, that is because, one, the people you're casting with are not made to cast. And two,
well, even when I cast with Senku, even when I use his generator, he's still kind of slow.
Yep. So the reason for that is, one, some of his skills like Generator and Gunpowder are very, very high level spells, like the highest, which means they probably have like a 5 to 7 second cast time. The way you reduce that is by giving him things that reduce his cast speed. And this applies to any unit, but you mainly just want to put it and invest in that stuff on a mage. So let's take a quick peek and see the things that he has available to him. So you don't have a ton of stuff unlocked. I want to see... Okay, he might have it in his tree already, but I'm just going to show you some of the things that you can be teaching that will help here. So, and the good thing is most of this stuff is on really low-level arcs, which is great. These low-level things are invaluable, so don't think that these are all just garbage because they're low rank. You teach a bunch of core fundamentals to your team from this stuff.
Okay.
So... let's see here if I can remember. Okay, so this one, when this gets up to level 8, you can teach high-level magic chant. This costs...
That sounds familiar. What is that?
Costs 9 SC. It says greatly increased cast speed. Basically, this gives you 20% time off of your cast speed. So depending on the potency of your magic, or like how powerful of one it is, it will have it'll have that certain amount of time that it takes, and think of it as like a sliding scale, and if you fill up cast speed enough, it makes it cast instantaneously. So For instance,
really?
for instance, lightning gauge might only take 30 or 40% cast speed increase to just cast instantaneously, whereas generator you might need 70 or 80% cast speed in order to cast it instantly because it's much stronger. So
Uh-huh.
so then lightning gauge maybe casts normally in like 2 or 3 seconds. The other one is much more. So then you need to stack the proper amount of cast speed reduction in order to make it go really fast. Support magic is always instantaneous, like as far as the effect going off. So when you do any buffs or debuffs with Senku, they'll just happen. Like you might be locked into an animation, but the effect still happens right away. Like it gets queued up, and then your character just sits there looking like an idiot for a minute. But then,
That's one way to explain it.
yeah, well, it's a thing. I recently learned how to do animation canceling, which helps a lot with supports. So I can show you quick with
Oh,
that.
that sounds broken.
Yeah, you can go to my channel if you haven't been on there. It's the latest video I released. I just made a video on animation canceling. So it's really, really good, especially on supports. So anyway, high-level magic chant will give you 20%. That's one thing. Next, this ether reward. You've gotten enough dupes that this is up to 45%. You'll want to be trying to farm this as much as you can. When you get this, here's an item, Rad Moonstone. This, 20% cast speed. So this gets you up to 40 now. So you do 9 SC for the one, you get this, that's a total of plus 40. That's probably enough, I would guess, to instantly cast Lightning Gauge by itself.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah. The main goal, though, is we want to get after 3,700 years to be instant cast. So,
And question.
yes.
This instantaneous cast speed stuff, this also works in PvP, correct?
Yes, it does. You absolutely want this. But this is also why
okay.
this is also why it's important in this game to focus on a unit doing what they're good at. So if you bring in somebody like Senku and you want to make him a caster, don't give him a ton of different magic. Don't try to make everybody cast. Make Senku the person and make sure you have one skill dedicated that you want him to use. That could be Lightning Gauge, maybe Meteor Storm, whatever. And you stack your cast speed on him only and then make him forced to do it. Hold on. I will detour real quick, otherwise I will forget. I apologize. I am squirreling a lot. But do you know you can set your AI priorities in here?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I do know that.
Yeah, so what you will want to do is you teach him your Meteor or your Lightning Gauge or whatever, and then you come in here and you set him to focus on that thing, whether it's fire magic or earth magic or thunder magic. Whatever the skill is you want him to use, make sure he is doing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to be wanting to use after 3037, that number of years.
In PvP, I wouldn't. Like I said,
Okay,
so like I said, the magic isn't really for damage in PvP because it doesn't do much.
Right.
So it's more so about crowd control. So you want something that casts quickly and also something that lasts a long time. After 3,700 years, when we actually get to the point of you being able to use it, it's like a burst that knocks people up and does really, really fast damage, which in PvP, the only value is you get a knock-up. But it goes really quick, which means you're then waiting for more MP to regen, whereas the other ones might last 3 to 6 seconds, maybe, which locks up your opponents longer, which means that natural MP regeneration can get you closer to that next cast easier. So, yeah, it's very good in PvE. PvP, though, you want to use some of these lower-end spells like what you've been using, like Meteor Storm and Lightning Gauge. Tornado Storm's another good one. Blizzard is really meta. Yeah, lots of stuff that you probably have access to because you can generally teach them pretty cheaply on some of these lower areas. All right. Before I squirreled, I was on cast speed. More sources of cast speed. We are looking for Shrine of Heresy. I think this is right. Yes, boom. Cultist Pendant. Ignore the extra dark damage, we don't care. Eventually, this is actually really good on Lug, because you can use that with his black hole and get some extra damage out of it and making his cast speed better, but attack magic specifically casts 30% quicker. So this won't work if you're doing like an AoE healing spell or something, but when you're using after 3,700 years or Lightning Gauge or whatever, this is 30. So now we have 20 from the stone, We have 20 from high level magic chant, and then this, we're now at a plus 70% cast speed, which for most spells is probably enough to instant cast it, which is really awesome.
That is in fact really awesome.
Yeah. So there's some units that will come with something called auto recast. Recast is kind of like Brave or Aura, where it just gives you a buff that lasts a certain amount of time. And that one gives you plus 30% to your cast speed. So if a unit comes with...
Doesn't Luke have that?
Yes, he does. So eventually he's going to feel really dumb in PvP. Because he just has it on him.
He doesn't use... Like, he doesn't come... Like, Senku comes pre-equipped with magic. It's in his nodes, but Luke doesn't.
Yeah, it's because you need to unlock it. And he's also not a main... Like, his main role isn't to be a caster. That's kind of a secondary hybrid role. He's meant to just do big dick damage with his abilities. Like, this is his bread and butter. Is just murdering things with these. And then he has the secondary effect of being a caster, but you have to build him. Like I said, you have 16 of 80 nodes unlocked right now. You need to get this maxed out. Like, to make him really good, you need to get all this shit. Like, he's got magic, it's just out here. Like, there's the auto advanced magic circle. This gives him automatic MP regen, which means you get stuff faster in PvP. He's got high level magic.
To be big dick damage, or I'm building him to be hybrid magic?
It depends on what you need him for in that particular scenario. So the thing about this...
Okay, so with my current team, which is Senku, Dante or Nero, and Luke, what should I be building him to be?
I mean, in general, I would just make him be physical damage, not for magic. Yeah. And also, just being relatively early on in the game as well, you kind of just have to build for the best you can do. Is sort of like the easy thing of it. But in general, yes, getting his strength up and then using things that'll just boost physical damage, whatever you can get, is kind of the goal. So your tools are a little bit limited since you are early on in the story and things like that. But just for the most part, the main goal on any unit is, without thinking about equipment or anything else, is just doing your best to just unlock these ability boards. Because it's really, really obscene. Like, what I usually tell people is, if you have one unit with an entire board maxed out, it will be more powerful than 3 units with their boards 50% maxed out.
Really? Okay.
It is that big of a deal. These outside skills are obscene. And so, yeah, so the fact that you don't have a single character with everything filled out means you have a lot of potential still there. Like, you have a lot you can still do.
With Dante,
it's expensive.
But, yeah, getting the crystals and stuff is really hard. Also,
yeah,
for once in all of the gacha games I've played, which I'd say is a lot, I'm running low on currency, gold.
Okay, so out of curiosity, what are you using gold for?
Nothing really besides
soul spots,
leveling up the nodes, and enhance. Basically, I'm just using it on my characters.
Okay, cool. So yeah, that's the only thing you should be spending it on is doing the enhances, this should be the only thing that costs gold. So this is obviously expensive, but these shouldn't cost any gold. These are just resources. So these, you just need to get these things. So gold should only be spent.
Things are very hard to get.
It will be much easier when you start autoing. For sure.
So?
Yes. Yeah. And then when you get farther into the campaign and you can make Senku extra strong so he can farm higher level stages, it gets even easier and easier and easier. The stage you're in is like
gonna be doing a lot of working on Senku.
Yeah, I think so. All right, let's go ahead. I'm spending more time than I probably should on this, but I think that we're making some good progress. Like, we're doing. I think we are making some moves which are good. I've come in here and picked Spud multiple times now. All right. Unlearned only. Let's see, what kind of stuff can Nero learn here? That might be good. Attack up, I guess. Critical up. Sure, we'll give him a critical up. Why not?
So
Sweet.
you have V, right?
Yes, I do.
What type of unit is he?
Everything. So he is. So he is a.
Make me yellow then.
Yeah. So okay, he is an ailment support, which there are only 2 of in the game. There is him and Laugia. Yes. Yeah. So that's one of his roles, which is like he's really good at giving enemies like stun and illness or blind or curse, things like that. So things that debilitate the enemies, he's good at applying that stuff, like very good at it. He's also a physical damage dealer, so his skills work really well. He's more specifically a physical damage dealing sniper. So his attacks are all ranged in general. So he deals a bunch of damage at range. All right, let's just see what kind of stuff we have here. I imagine Generator probably does some decent damage. Yeah,
It does something.
it does something. All right, and then yeah, and so this also just feels bad when you just have to like regular attack stuff. Ignore the frame rate. That's because I didn't plan on playing, so I'm on my emulator. Emulators are just not
Frame
great.
rate.
Yeah, it's bad. It's real bad. But we're still killing stuff, so it's fine. We'll do that. Yeah, this long cast time will not be a thing when you can get some cast speed. Yeah, Generator is actually one of the highest damaging spells in the game because it's not one of those that can only have one exist at a time. So when you get maxed cast speed to make it instant cast, you can stack up multiple at a time, and you can have all of them ticking for damage at the same time on an enemy because it lasts like 5 seconds. So you can just cast it like 10.
Me?
Yeah, so you could just like fast cast 10 of them in a row and just dump them all on top and just watch them melt. So it's pretty cool in the situations. Huh?
I don't like this.
You don't like it?
No.
Okay, look at that. Now he has after 3,700 years. Cool.
That's horrible. You know how I feel if somebody did that to me?
Well, you wouldn't be doing it in like PvP, you know, because you don't have that much MP. But in PvE, that's what you can do. So, all right, cool. So he's still going to be.
AIs are people too.
All right, so he's going to be still learning that. Let's go ahead and throw on 3,700 years later. What's soap even do? Oh, cure some stuff in here. Yeah, that's good support ability.
Soap is healing skill as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, we're just going to take that off. Yeah, machine boost, I guess that's fine. Why not? Yeah, none of this really matters. None of this stuff is really super optimal for him. Like I said, you're going to want like int ups and things like that.
Oh, I know. I was really, at the time, like I said, Senku's a new unit.
Yep.
For me, at least. So I'm really just putting stuff on him to have stuff on him.
Yep. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and run this again so that they can keep learning some of these skills. He can start learning some magic up because why not? Getting a skill charge on your units is going to feel great, though. So hopefully me getting that trained onto Dante will be nice. But we'll also get to go in here and do 3,700 years so you can kind of see what it is. It's still going to take a long time to cast because you don't have cast speed yet, but... And he just instantly died. Okay, that works. That works. Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, he is very squishy. Because he's just so weak. Yeah, he's very little.
Do that to Senku.
Yeah, he's very weak. Alright, we're gonna...
He had no right.
Alright, we're just gonna use your friend Nero here. And hopefully not be that bad. Also, if you...
dare call him my friend?
Helter Skelter? Oh god. He's definitely a new account as well. Ugh. Oh god. The lack of quality friend units is rough.
You know what also is rough?
What?
Would you like to know what else is rough?
What's that?
Your frame rate, my good sir.
Yeah, it's real bad.
Rate is quite low.
Well, if things would just die right away, I wouldn't have to worry about frame rate. We'd be back in the menus, but unfortunately, this is that, like, little dick energy going on right now.
Well, it would have cost you $0 not to say that, but you did.
I did.
So you're a
I
human
did.
being.
I am a horrible human being. I'm actually more
I
so
hope
judging
not.
this friend unit because normally like friend units should be really good at like helping to be overpowered and broken, and instead he was just kind of bad. Just kind of bad.
Well, I get a lot of good friend units most of the time.
Yeah, I just pick somebody at random. I'm used to like I've been playing for a very long time. So usually if I come in and there's any friend units that come up, they're always around your level. So it's been a very long time since I've had any that were like not really dumb and broken.
Okay.
Let's see here. But anyway, in the Discord, I should have my friend code. If you go in and shoot me a friend invite, you can have me in your friends list, and then if you have any sort of hurdle, you can just bring an OP unit and just power through it once a day.
Who's your support unit?
I cycle it out, but I usually go between like Gen, V, maybe Rem, sometimes Medine. Yeah, Rem.
Wait, Rem? Like ReZero Rem?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, you missed that collab. That collab was last year. You missed it.
You mean to say that there was a ReZero collab and I missed it?
Yeah. They have speculated that maybe it might get a rerun, like Dr. Stone got a rerun. This is the second time that it's come here. We had Stone last year. We also had a ReZero after it. So there is a tiny. Well, we have no guarantee. This was the first time we've gotten an event rerun, like a collab rerun. Dr. Stone was the first. So it's a small chance, but ReZero may come back. But yeah, Amelia and Rem are both units in the game.
Is Rama unit?
It is just those two right now. It is just Rem and Amelia.
Really?
Yeah, if it comes back, yeah, generally they added 2 or 3 units per collab. So.
But that's weird because Dr. Stone got like what, 4 units, 5?
Well, the first time around it started with 2, and then at the tail end it got 1 more. There was like a surprise unit. This time it got Chrome and Gen, which were brand new. So because of the rerun, we went from 3 to 5 units.
Oh, okay.
So odds are, if it gets rerun, we'll get 1 or 2 units added in addition.
So, wait. I hate to ask this, but how many collabs have I missed?
Not that many. Well, originally, way early on in its lifespan, there was Secret of Mana.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, it's an old game. It's an old like Final Fantasy game. So that was one, and it had an arc that's still broken to this day because of a skill that's on it. And the other one, other than Dr. Stone and ReZero, was reincarnated as a slime, whatever that is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know what that is.
Yeah, so that's the other one. So just those 3 are kind of the only collabs that we got, and then obviously DMC. But
I'm actually kind of angry that I didn't get V, especially knowing that there might not be a rerun.
yeah, I mean, he's easily the best unit of all of them. I mean, for a new account, Nero's better, I think. But for like end game purposes, V is one of the absolute best units in the game. Super good.
Yes, I get it. V equals bad.
No, I mean, if you had him right now, he would feel terrible, like, on your account, because until he gets built, he's just a wet paper towel. Like, he dies instantly and doesn't do very much.
Oh, like Senku.
Yes, like Senku.
Exactly like
Senku legitimately has, like, the lowest health pool in the game. He's very squishy. He's a super good support unit, and a very competent mage, because Science Magic is, like, the only good magic for the most part in the game, with only a couple exceptions. So like
Science Magic, really?
Yeah, Science Magic is some of the most powerful magic that there is in the game. Magic in general is pretty weak.
Another question.
Yeah.
Is Science Magic a magic that was only invented for the collab? Or
Yes.
has it been a thing?
Yes, it is isolated to the collab.
So they made a collab. They made a collab magic the strongest magic in the game.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of only strong because of the nature of magic as a whole. Magic used to be really busted in this game because there was
about the time stop magic and such.
Yeah, so everything used to time stop, but now it doesn't So now things just take a really long time to have an animation before doing their damage, and then that damage isn't even a big payoff. Like, it just doesn't
Right.
hit. It doesn't hit very hard. But science magic, after
Slow risk.
yeah, basically all their animations are really, really fast. And then the ones that like Senku has, gunpowder and generator, they don't take up this like cast space I was talking about, which means you can just keep spamming as many as you want and just keep doing damage. You don't have to wait for the last one to finish animating before the next one. But their damage numbers and their scaling, their like maximum potential, is on par with the highest level spells before that would just hit the whole board. They're just in an isolated area. But for just doing straight damage, they maintain the damage of old spells while casting 10 times faster. So that's why they're actually good. Because you don't have to take so damn long.
Right. You
So-
know, making collab stuff stronger is kind of why Seven Deadly Sins is dying right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
I don't know if you heard, but the ReZero characters and apparently the Stranger Things characters are quite stupidly overpowered.
Yeah, that will happen. I do think, though, the fortunate thing is there's a lot of things in the base game that are also stupidly broken, so it kind of works out.
I mean, yeah, but the thing is, like, if you make a limited time event character that, since you have to get, like, the rights to do it each time,
Yep.
if you make them really stupid strong, then the people who have them are at a huge advantage that the people who don't have them have to work hard to catch up to.
Yes.
While it just comes easy to them.
Yep, you're right. The main reason that it's kind of okay in Last Cloudia, which is good, is one, even though it's the best type of magic, magic is still pretty bad overall. Like, science magic means magic can be kind of competent sometimes. It's still not broken.
So it goes from just absolutely horrible to okay.
Basically, like, you need to work hard endgame to make magic work. And usually you would just do it for memes, because whatever you can do with magic, your physical DPS can do way easier and more reliably. So magic is kind of relegated to whatever is the best for CC and arena, and a couple of exceptions in PvE. Like Lug and his black hole, when you have him completely maxed, black hole can be pretty solid. Just before he came out, Rabala, her magic is really good. The Amelia is an ice mage from ReZero, and her ice magic is pretty solid. And then there's one unit called Lagrabos who has a unique skill called Oblivion, which is a neutral damage element, which is good because that means nobody resists the damage from his element. That one's pretty good.
Okay, so on that topic of the neutral element damage, I've seen an arc. It has an arc skill. It's the dang it, the Theopolis.
Oh yeah.
Something like that. I saw that it does big PP damage with no elemental or attribute resistances.
Yeah.
So is that kind of the same thing as neutral damage? Or?
It is. Hold on. Let me make sure that I understand. That I understand exactly what it does, because I don't think it's exactly what you think. Okay, so this one, what it does is when you activate the skill, it takes whatever their elemental resistances currently are and subtracts 50, which is immensely good. And then it makes the damage type of this attack match its weakest. So if this makes an enemy's, light and all of its resistances drop to 20, but then its lightning resist is minus 30 or minus 50 or something, the damage to that specific unit becomes that type, which means it should have a higher multiplier on it to just be able to hit bigger numbers. But for a different enemy that has different resistances, it'll be a different element. So that is not the same as neutral damage. This is modifying the damage type to just be the best for that scenario.
Okay.
So neutral damage is... First of all, let's go into one of your units here and just look at some weapons so that you can see kind of some of the elemental things we got going Because I don't know exactly how knowledgeable you are on how elemental stuff works and things like that. So
Not at all. Not
let's
even
go
a
ahead and
bit.
peek. Oh, I don't know why I picked Luke. He has to learn to equip stuff.
Assume that I have the smallest brain imaginable.
All right. Equip. So in here, so this does lightning damage. So first of all, do you know what this element actually means on a weapon at all?
When you use your normal attacks, it will do that damage, correct?
Correct. All right, cool. So that means if eventually, like when you build up Dante and he's got fire damage boost, so it says increase to fire damage, then your regular attacks will do more damage if you have a fire element weapon. So that is cool. Which means if you have exact same stats on Cavalier as if you had basically Cavalier but fire element, the fire element would be doing more damage because it actually gets his multipliers from it. But if you're just using skills because you've built him to a point where he has lots of skills to spam and you never need to do regular attacks, the element literally never does anything else. So it doesn't matter. So at that point you use it for the best stats and passive abilities. So that's one good thing to know. So
that is highly unfortunate.
Yeah, it's not that bad. It's definitely not. It's not too bad. It's just something to think about depending on what build you're going for. Because there's some units that maybe you want to make like a regular attack build, because some of them can be good at that. Not that many, but some. And some that you just want to be dumping their skills all the time. At which case you don't care about your weapons element because you're just going to be spamming these.
So, question about that.
Yes.
So, the weapon that you equip only does element damage when you use a normal attack, right?
Yes.
So, for a ranged unit like Senku,
yep.
Does his arrow have the element of bluff of a gun?
Yes, which is nothing. Which is neutral. Which means when he attacks...
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
So no element, which means that is going to be neutral damage. So, do you know how the resistances work?
I think so.
Okay. I think that I know as well. I guess I haven't technically tested, but as far as I know, we can go from 0 to 100, positive or negative, and it's just a straight percentage. So if somebody's resistant, if a Dante was attacking a Dante with a fire attack, it would be doing 20% less damage because he's 20% resistant to it. Cool?
Yeah.
If a ice type, if an ice enemy attacks him, they do 30% more damage. Awesome. Yes. Cool. If you just attack with neutral damage, there's no resistances for that. You just always do the same amount of damage. The only thing that comes into play is defense, which also would have come into case anyway. Well, if it's magic, then it goes against mind. If it's a physical skill, such as auto attacks or using skills, then it's defense. So they take percentage of this, cuts your damage, and then calculates your damage versus the defense or mind of the unit. Neutral damage is great because you literally don't care about these. So in high-end content, you can get to the point where an enemy might have 80% resist in all of these. So your choices to combat that is like some units might have resist down debuffs, or like Senku gets a bad medicine skill, which is a minus 35% to every element for 40 seconds, which is one of the best debuffs in the game. You can do things like that, so instead of being at 80, they'll be down at like 45, but you're still doing reduced damage. If you're doing neutral damage, you ignore all those elements and you're just doing your root damage minus their defense. So that's why neutral damage dealers are really good. And the reason that that arc that I told you about, Trishula, is so good is that this basically says, hey, if they're resistant to your damage, if their resistance is negative, you can do extra damage like you want. But if it's positive and you're going to deal less damage, we're just going to make you deal normal damage and totally ignore that damage resistance.
Oh, okay. So I'm seeing why this gun is good.
That's why it's busted. So then suddenly, Nero either is doing extra damage or effectively neutral damage, which is really great. Or Dante, or whoever has it equipped. So you can throw this on Dante too, and then if they're resistant to fire, he's still going to do full damage.
One more question about that.
Yes.
Do skills automatically come with
elements equipped to them, or do they do neutral damage?
Yes. Yes, they do. Every unit is locked to certain things. So, and you just have to read their stuff. So this one specifies fire, 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 fire. He's all fire.
Big fire.
Nero is a combo. So this one is fire, this one is thunder, this one is earth, this one just says powerful combo attack. I assume this is neutral damage, the alt. So he's a little bit of everything. He's all over the place.
Cool. All right.
Yeah. Let's see. Whatever Senku's is. Let's see. So this is a fire attack. So yeah, you just have to read. This is a dark attack, apparently. And then the rest don't really do damage.
Sulfurina?
Yeah, Sulfurina is a dark attack. Long range, dark combo attack.
Alright.
Yeah. So there you go. You just have to read whatever they are, and then you'll know when bonuses come in or not, which usually isn't that relevant. Generally, somebody like Dante is going to he does fire damage, and in his kit, he has things that boosts fire damage, which is great. Right. Somebody like Nero, because he has lots of elements, he doesn't have elemental boosts like others. Instead, he just has things that just boosts all damage. So you don't need to go, it's probably not worth it to go out of your way to teach him skills that say, oh, increase your lightning damage, because then that's only going to help Overture. These ones don't get any sort of benefit. So you just want generic things that can just raise damage, which you're not to that point yet of going and trying to teach high-level skills, but you'll get there, assuming you stick with the game and keep going through all this stuff. So,
well, of course, I'm not going to waste this time.
Yeah, you'll get there. You'll get there. Lug is all dark, so he's a complete dark damage dealer, which is why, again, he's very similar to Dante, where eventually you'll want him to be able to learn machine equip so that he could get Trishula, otherwise you're doing nerfed damage. So right now on your account, you have no good source of neutral damage. So when you get to a point where enemies have high resistances, you literally don't have an answer to deal with it, except for Trishula on Nero.
Understood.
Yeah. I mean, well, okay, Dante can use a machine, technically. But since he can't dual wield, his damage is going to be a little bit blah, probably.
So I should be dual wielding instead of having on armor, right? It takes off armor, right?
Yes, but that's when you're able to. You're not even allowed to dual wield yet. Well, Nero you can. So yes, Nero you should be dual wielding, 110%. Okay. So yeah, he should be having on in his kit, he has bonuses to using swords and machines. So he will eventually want Trishula. I would probably have him on, probably, if he was my main right now, he'd be on Red Queen and Cavalier. Because that's just your highest stat stuff. So I'd have him on both of those. And then as you level up his kit, he has stuff that promotes using those specific type of weapons as well. So when we look at some of these, again, these outer ring things, we have, let's see some of this stuff here. Where are some of these? So machine high boost. So just for having a machine, physical attack power, which is regular attacks and all three of his skills, plus 20% damage flat. And you have a chance to just ignore 10% of their defenses. So he just gets that for free. Regular machine boost. Again, increased physical damage, chance to ignore defense. Cool.
Do those stack?
Yes, they absolutely stack. Absolutely. Almost everything stacks except for buff sunscreen. And then you can see here too. Sword boost. Flat 10% increase to damage for wielding a sword. So when you can get some of those skills and you're using the corresponding weapon, they all stack and they are all great. Eventually, if you get the arc for it, you can teach him sword high boost as well. And then that's even more damage. That's like a flat 30% bonus to damage. And that's the key way to really start jacking your damage up is, like, stats will only get you so far. Like, you can go and put strength ups on and try to put on some things with big numbers, and it will help, especially early on. But when you start getting into challenging things, what you need to do is just try throwing on anything that says a percentage increase to your damage. And that's when things start going up, because they start multiplying on top of each other. So I don't know the exact damage calculations, but the core of it is basically if it increases things by a percentage amount, it's going to be way better than elevating stats. So, and in Nero's kit, he just has a shitload of multipliers. is basically it. And Lug does as well. Lug's just going to be harder to build, and you don't have all the stuff to make him busted like Nero. So, all right. So, one of the things that you... I'm trying to think of what is going to be... This is going to be hard without some cast speed, like getting him to be able to auto stuff. So you're probably just going to have to auto with your team. Yeah, we're going to have to get you able to... All right, this is what we're going to do. We're just going to have you set with a team of people so that they can just do shitty auto farms until we can get some ether progress up to be able to get some cast speed on Senku. Because I think that he's not going to be able to hold his own and cast very well as it currently stands, which is what I'm kind of concerned about. So let's see what this stage looks like for your current team. So we are in here.
You gotta believe in him sometimes.
Yes. So the things I would focus on farming Ether for first, probably these. So I will put them on your unit. So do you know how Ether actually works and that whole thing on arks? When I'm talking about Ether and Ether farming, do you know what I mean?
Yes and no.
Okay, cool.
So the ether thing, right?
Yes.
Ether farming. That's the ether, the arc ether reward, like Trish, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. And so farming it would just be playing with the arc?
Yes. Yeah, precisely. So essentially,
Okay.
when you have an arc equipped at any level, so when you're farming, you want them at 1, so you're not burning through all your orbs or your souls.
Right.
So what you do is every time you complete a stage, you have a 10% chance per arc to get a 0.1 increase to the equip arc.
That does not sound fair.
Sounds
like a lot of grinding.
Yes, it is a lot of grinding. It is very, very slow, in fact. But it is fine. It is something that just takes a lot of time. But once you can get a farm unit going and you say, if you get to the point of having Senku clearing a stage in like 3 or 4 seconds, which he definitely can do because of that spell, if you get him to instacast the after 3,700 years, and then get that to one-shot the wave, you should be at 3 or 4 second clears on a single round stage. And then my numbers, depending on your phone's load times, is I think I was getting about 1%, I believe, per hour of auto farming.
1% per hour.
Yeah, which over time, if you're just autoing for like a couple hours a day, a few hours a day, especially on an emulator, if you can just have it run basically all day, is not really too bad. Otherwise, the alternative is you need to use Ethereum, which I'm guessing you don't have very much of. Yeah,
I have none.
0 to be precise. Yeah,
Yes.
which is fine. It's hard to come by. It's usually like event challenges or certain milestones that give it to you for free. So, yeah, once you get to 100%, you get the reward. And not only do you get the reward, but also all those AP multipliers, they basically go up. They basically are like 3 times higher. So if it had a times 8, it goes up to like a times 24, I think. So when you get something to 100%, it makes it more efficient to teach skills to people, in addition to the extends you can do to push those even further past that.
Right.
So, yeah, good stuff. Let's go ahead and just see what an auto looks like here with your current team. I am going to change this. So when you're actually auto farming, you want to remove choice from the AI. We only want them trying to use this after 3,700 years.
Okay.
So I'm going to unequip everything else. You can put it back on when you're playing for serious content and you're actually doing things. But for now, this is it. I don't think this is going to hit very hard right now because we don't have any int ups. We don't have really any good gear on him other than which is fine. But we're testing the waters. This is only a level 14 stage. Hopefully your physical damage dealers can just clear it quick enough. And then at least it's a form of you being able to go in an auto until you can build up Senku and your resources and things. Again, you'll have much more freedom when you start getting more souls so that you can afford to go and level up your arcs and teach skills and things like that. So getting through campaign, unlocking soul spots and leveling them up is priority number 1. If you could just do this when you're not playing, it's some sort of progress, which is good. It's something. All right, let's see what this actually looks like on auto. Hopefully this is a one-round stage. I don't remember if it is. It actually might not be, so maybe this isn't good for either. This might just be good for farming gems. Or crystals.
So, Ether is only good on one stage? I mean, one wave?
Yeah. So Ether, you gain the progress at the end of the stage. So when you go through and you get your XP, you get all your loot drops shown to you. There's a... and then you see the screen that says how much AP your unit gained towards learning a skill. That's also the same screen that it will show if you got a Ether increase. You run stages that have a single wave so that you can just clear one and then get to that end screen, and then clear another one and then get to an end screen.
Makes sense.
Yeah. This still probably isn't that bad for autoing, just simply because you should be able to get a okay amount of the crystal drops, and at your stage in the game, you can use all the crystal drops you can get. Loot comes with auto recast already? I thought you would have had to learn it. That's crazy. But you can see there that those boulders coming in that instantly killed everything, that's 3,700 years. That's Senku's newest skill.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, it just comes up and murders things, which he's basically as weak as Senku can possibly be right now, and he still did pretty good against these enemies in this stage, which is, good.
Question about Senku.
Yeah.
Is his 3,700 years.
See,
Is that a full screen?
Yes, it is. It hits everything on the board.
Okay.
But it does not take a long time to actually make the animation happen. It is, in fact, the fastest animating full screen attack, which is why it's so good.
That sounds fair.
Yeah. Well,
I didn't realize that Senku is just all types of not fair.
Well, it's not a Senku thing. It's that skill thing.
Ah.
Yeah. Also, if you didn't know, there's things like this on the map that you can click, and it gives you free shit.
What?
There are hidden things all over this map. So if you've never explored it, look, there's a ship. This is actually a bottle in the water. You can click that bottle, and look at that. Now you got some music sheets. They hid.
I thought that was like background stuff.
No, all of it is things. Oh, hey, on this thing here, that's a chest. Yeah.
Thanks, I'm never gonna be able to sleep now.
This map is jammed packed with crap everywhere, and you unlock more and more as you get through more story. You only have probably 5% of the map unlocked right now. Like, you have so much campaign to get through. See, like, there's another bottle there. There's a chest.
I just want you to know that all I'm going to be thinking about now is all the hidden stuff that I'm missing.
Look, there's a chest there. Here's a purple chest, which means you need a key for it, which means you have to go find a key. You have so much stuff to do, man. It's fun.
How do you find the key?
Well, if you can't find it on your own, you look it up. Oh, and sometimes there's sparkly things, so I'll click the sparkly thing. Oh, look at that. We just found a new location for you. You can go do stuff at. What's going on here? I don't even know what this is, but this is like music notes? What the hell's going on here? Oh, a cutscene, apparently.
What is happening here?
Yeah, you have a lot of stuff that's not even combat related that you can go do in this game right now. Granted. Okay, I'm not going to sit through this, though. I apologize if you're really big on story. I think you can rewatch these somehow, but...
I am not really big on story. I might be following the story. I'm not, like... itching for every detail of the story. But yeah.
All right.
Also, question.
Yes.
Why is this called Playing Doctor?
Funny joke. That's pretty much
I'm
it.
very disappointed. It's fixing your shit.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I was debating between some different names and such, and I don't know. I think somebody else had said it before, and I was like, yeah, that kind of sounds funny.
Quite disappointed.
Yeah, well, it happens. I tend to disappoint people. It's how it goes. I'll make up for it in some ways, at least. Yeah, this is the place that you will probably be able to auto-farm right now. So again, this is not going to get you a ton of things, but it will get you some resources passively. Not a ton of stuff, but still something. Some of the white crystals, some of this other little crap. The most important thing is just your ether progress. So if, again, you're not manually playing and you have literally nothing else to do, you could just come in and auto-farm this stage. This should be relatively quick to complete. And then this will start building up your ether. And then when you get those rewards, they will help. Because it'll be 50% cast speed for Senku. Which means
you can download this on computer, right?
They don't have an actual PC client yet, but you can get an emulator. So right now I'm playing on one called BlueStacks.
Oh, I have BlueStacks.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you can just download it on BlueStacks and then just log in with your account here. You can only have your account logged in one place at a time, so if you log in on your phone, it'll log you out of BlueStacks and vice versa. But you can still have it set on both places, and then you just be logged into one of them at a time. So you could totally just turn on BlueStacks, go onto there, set this to auto-farm literally all day, and then just come back later, and assuming you didn't have a random disconnect or something, you should just have a little bit of progress on some stuff.
A random disconnect would really hurt my feelings.
It happens. I think this update made it a little bit worse. So I've heard people reporting that like disconnects happen a bit. So okay, we completed that in 8 seconds, and then it runs through this, goes to the next phase, and then you let it go another time. And you just leave that on, and it'll keep looping through. And then I'm guessing at that type of a clear rate, compared to some of my other ones, and if you're on an emulator, because load times are a bit worse on the emulator, I would guess you could at least get 1% every 2 hours, I would think, or better. You'll just have to gauge and see what it actually looks like when you're in doing it, but either way, it's a baseline something that you can do, which is good. But then also, something that you could do, debating, I don't know how many, there's a lot of gems in campaign, and I'm surprised. I'll be honest, I'm very surprised. You said that there's some God mode stuff you were able to get access to?
Yeah.
I didn't think God mode stuff came in until much later.
But I can't actually do it.
That is very strange. Yeah, well, okay, so first of all, when I came into the game, like there was only normal and hard. We didn't even have God mode. It didn't exist. So then, like, the way that it worked is as new campaign content came out, some of it would come in and some of it would have higher difficulty stuff, and then God mode would come in, and that was kind of staggered in with some other difficulties. Okay, here it is. Yeah, so some of these are able to be done in here, but alright. But yeah, you just have so much stuff you can do. So just do the main storyline as much as you can. Get a bunch of the soul spots going. Along the way, you should be getting more resources probably as well, which will be nice. Again, just get your soul spot stocks up. Get your other conquer slot in place so that they can start gaining some souls that way. In order to do awakening and SET increases.
I actually have a question about that.
Yes.
For the conquer slots, right?
Yes.
So you know how I have 4 of them unlocked right now, and I have each member of his team in one right now, right?
Yep.
Could I theoretically, for example, let's say Luke, could I put him in all 4 of those slots?
No. No. He's already occupied, so if you try to change, like, he's already there. So you can only have one assigned there. But if you unlock the secondary zone, you could put the same unit in both. So then you could put all 4 of these in the other slot as well.
Alright, that's cool, that's cool.
Yep. So that's what you can do.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of angry, because if I didn't unlock that 4th slot that you see Luke in right now, I could have had another summon by now.
Yeah, honestly, this was a better call. Most people do just do the summons, but the thing is, in this game, you'll hear people in the community probably say, if you're on Reddit and stuff, like, this is a marathon, it's not a race. So, like, when you do stuff for short-term game, you will pay for it in the long run. So something like this, getting these unlocked, and then as well as the other one, in the long run, it will net you so many souls and save you time. It will be great. Or you could just spend large chunks of gems doing single rolls that in most cases will give you nothing. So like it's satisfying because it's a gacha game, so you like to do it. But another thing that's I think is very worthwhile is you can spend and you can get this all the way up to 100 friend slots, and it only costs 1,000. But you can have it up there so that you can have that many friends, and as people use you and give you friend points, there's a friend shop for going in, and you can help subvert some of the RNG by being able to come in here and trade for the exact stuff that you need. So you can use these friend points from people friending and come in and be like, oh, my enhancement, I only need like 5 more things. Okay, cool, I can grab 5 of the ancient materials from here. I don't have to go farm a stage and hope I get drops. So like for me, I have like 200,000 friend points or something because I'm autoing a lot, and I have friends that are sending them to me as well. Because whenever somebody uses your unit, you're going to get friend points. Then when you use your friend units, they give you like triple the friend points or something, as opposed to using a random person's friend unit. And over time, it adds up and then lets you get some of those resources. So you can help when you really need stuff to come in here, and then you can grab some of that stuff. And that includes the crystals too. Like the things that we were just talking about that were kind of rare or whatever. It says all the new multiplayer stuff in it too. But all this stuff, you can come in here and you can just grab whatever you happen to need, and this refreshes every month. Obviously, some of the rare stuff is more expensive, but if you're doing auto runs all the time and you're getting passive friend points, minimum, every stage you clear not only gives you the chance at ether progress and whatever drops and XP you get, I think you get like 5 friend points minimum. If it's an actual friend, I think you get 15. So if you're just mindlessly autoing, that can add up.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's one of the ways to kind of have the fuel of getting things in addition to doing farming stages.
Yeah, I see how that works.
Yeah, also, like I said, if you run any farming stages, which you should absolutely do, so like whatever the highest difficulty of this is, I guess this is only level 100, I would say see if you can go online and post on Reddit or see in some of the Discord, see if you can get a couple of overpowered friends in your friend list. So that at the very least, when Grand Ability Gate comes up, you can just complete this 3 times a day, at the very least. So that you can get through. Because right now, you probably can't do this, I assume. Unless you have an OP friend already. But I assume you haven't gone and begged people to join your friends list. You just have whoever's around your current level.
I have one OP friend that I met on Reddit. But I don't see them a lot.
Okay. Well, like I said, you can go on Discord, shoot me an invite. What's your in-game name here? I can just so I know what to watch for. I don't friend anybody unless I know them. Shadow. Okay, cool. And I'll make sure when an invite comes through from Shadow that I will accept, and then you can have somebody. And then if you need,
So, why don't you friend people unless you know them?
Because I have a maxed friend list already, except for a few. So basically, if like random people send me invites all the time because that's just what people do, which is good. But if I just added everybody, I would be maxed out. So instead of being at 100, I try to sit at like 95, so that if somebody on Reddit's like, hey, I'm really struggling, can I have some help with this thing? Then I can be like, oh yeah, sure, here's my friend code. Go ahead, shoot me a message, tell me your gamer tag, and then I'll help carry you through it. I'll fill in the blank whether you need a good support unit or you need some more damage or whatever. I'll change my friend unit temporarily, help them out, and then once they're done, I may leave them on for a little bit, or I might just unfriend them so that I can go help the next person. So the only people that stick on my friends list are people from my Discord that I intentionally added because they got me in from there, or people that I just know around or people I know from around the community, like Buddha and Tweaks, like people that make content and I've talked to on other occasions and stuff. So if I've talked specifically to people, then I will do it. Or if somebody messages me on Reddit and they're like, oh, hey, my name is Megaman69 or some crap. Can you help me out with this thing? I'll be like, oh, cool. Yeah, you shouted yourself out. I will go add you to that. And then I may or may not delete you within the next couple weeks. But you will be my friend long enough that I can help you with something. Okay. So otherwise, I usually just delete people that haven't logged in over the last, 24 hours. Because most of the people in my friends list are playing the game actively. So if you haven't logged on for 2 weeks, I'm like, no, somebody else can have your friend slot instead.
Right.
So, yeah. But anyway,
that's fair.
Yep. So that is a long, unnecessary spiel about that. So, yeah.
I wouldn't say it's unnecessary.
Yeah. Just drug on probably longer than it needed to. We've been on here for like almost 2.5 hours now. I mean, I'm having a good time, but it is very much. All right. And most of it is just because I detour.
The full account reviews to YouTube. So
yes.
Do people watch all the way through?
Some people. Yeah.
That's
yeah, I mean, I might cut some of it out. Like, we had some dead audio in the middle, and things like that. But yeah, I just upload it as it is. I don't think everybody does, but I've heard from some people they like it because they'll just listen in the background like it's a podcast. So, like, they'll just be, like, working or doing house chores or something and just have it on, like, in the background on their phone and just listen to people talking.
I get that.
Yeah, and people just like having some of that type of stuff. So I don't think it's many. I don't think that many people watch those things, but every once in a while, you know, somebody will get through there and they'll comment on something that's like an hour in. They'll be like, oh, I totally didn't know this was the thing. I'm like, cool, glad I posted it then.
Right.
So, you know, it's mostly to help the person, you know, such as yourself that's here, but if anybody else passively gains some knowledge along the way and is willing to sit through however long the thing is, cool.
Right, cool things.
Yeah. So, all right, main things that we have to focus on is get through the campaign, continue to unlock soul spots, and level them up.
Yes.
Priority one.
Right.
Absolutely, priority one. When you're not playing the game and you have time to auto, be autoing Port Miguel for now, with these particular arcs on, so that you can start gaining some passive ether progress. Because right now you're probably not strong enough to be autoing as well as you would like to. So again, Port Miguel with this particular team. Because these are the things we want.
Exactly? The arc levels?
Yeah, just level 1. Because we don't want to be burning through souls. You're going to eat a ton of souls if you're autoing on other stuff.
What are you running on Dante?
Dante, this is Kaladina the Great. So this is the one that gives you Trish.
Right. What's that red arrow? Well, what's those red arrows?
This is just implying that it's leveled down. So these are both level 1. This one we're artificially reducing it to 1 to save souls.
Right.
So now it's not there. So it's naturally level 4. This is saying we are artificially reducing its level.
Okay.
Yeah, so its effective level is 1, even though you technically have it higher. So that's what that means. Yeah, good stuff. So we're going to do that so that eventually you can get these. You can give this to Dante or Nero, whoever happens to be up at the time. I still
I'll probably give it to Nero since you said he's more beginner friendly.
Yeah, yep. I definitely think your resources going towards him will probably help you more once you're getting to like the mid game and when content starts getting harder. You haven't started getting into the hard content yet. I mean, some of the God mode stuff, yes, will feel a little bit bad, but this early on, it's not awful. It will start scaling up immensely, and you will hate yourself. It's gonna suck. So you're gonna need to.
I already do that deal.
Yeah, you're gonna need to lean on friend units a little bit in some cases, and you will.
Friend unit. I like playing no support.
I do too, in general, but there's some places where it's hard. Like when I first played the game, I played with no support just because it felt cooler. And then I got to a point where I was like, guys, I need help. This one boss, I'm just struggling with it. It has this stuff and this, and I just can't do it. And they're like, let's just use a friend. I was like, because that's not cool. And then I brought in somebody and they just like completely one-shot the boss that I couldn't take 10 minutes to beat. I was like, all right. So I got through that hurdle. And then the next like 20 stages I did was totally fine. So it was just like a power hurdle that I was facing where maybe I didn't have my units quite built right, or this boss specifically countered what my team did and really like leaned against one of my team's weaknesses, because your team will have weaknesses early on and going through it. So you will want to be funneling your resources into one unit, because like I said, one unit maxed out is much better than 3 units partially built. So
as far as that goes, Luke, Dante, or Nero?
I think that Nero is the smartest choice. Because
Alright,
just because you do not have the things to make the others broken endgame, you have enough that Nero will his overall potential is higher than the other two right now. And without RNG of getting things that you need, arc-wise, which eventually you'll get, but right now you don't have them. So I think it's a safer bet to go with him.
Also, I have a question.
Yes.
So earlier when we were talking, this was way back in the Discord call.
Yes.
You mentioned 2 arcs, Caldina the Great.
Yep.
Which yields Trish.
Yes.
And you mentioned another one, Sandworm, I think it was.
Yes. This one.
Why is that one important?
This one is important because once you get far enough to level it up to level, when you can get it up to level 10, it allows you to teach dual wield.
Oh. Okay.
It's literally, if a unit does not come with dual wield automatically, this is the only way in the entire game to give it to them. And dual wield is 100% necessary for a physical DPS to hit their max potential endgame.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah. And it also lets you abuse different types of weapon boosts. So like Dante wants to be using swords. He has things in his kit to boost swords, but he can use any weapon type. So ideally, you want to give him a sword so that he gets the bonuses out of his kit, and then you dual wield him with Trish so that he also doesn't have to deal with elemental resistances.
Okay.
So, and same with Luke. Same with Luke. You give him something that is good, and then you also give him Trish.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one more thing.
Yes.
So I run 2 teams. One of which is the team that you're seeing now.
Yep.
With Luke and then Dante and then Senku.
Yep.
And then another one that I run is Luke, Dante, Nero. Which for now at least seems to be working fine. But I know for endgame content I'm gonna need a healer. So my question is, when I'm playing auto or like farming or something, should I be using an all DPS balls to the wall team, or should I be using a sort of more balanced out?
Yeah, I think for right now, because Senku he doesn't have the cast speed to really make good use of his stuff. I would say that totally makes sense. So just swapping him out for Nero so that things can just slap a little bit harder, it might save you a second or two on a run, because Senku he's not going to do much of anything for you in this farming thing yet. But once you can get him some cast gear or get him a high-level magic chant, he can start doing a little bit better. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, and I will also say, as far as unit investment, after you've done focusing on your DPS unit, so Nero in this case, the secondary would be your support, I would say. So rather than leveling up another DPS unit, you funnel some resources into Senku to make sure that he's awesome. A good support and a good DPS unit will conquer most of the stuff in the game. And every once in a great while, you will hit this wall where you need magic damage, and it's only like 1% of the content. But when you need it, having Senku able to do that magic damage will be great. Alright. So I'm trying to see what he has. I'm hoping he has high-level magic chant in his kit. So that you can kind of have something else to aim towards. He has a movable object, which that will help with farming. Because he flinched before.
I have a big question.
Sure.
So, in terms of built-in buffs? I kind of call them buffs. Self-buffs. Such as doping, the doping skills that Senku has, and Dante's styles, like Trickster,
yes.
Swordmaster.
What about it?
Should I be using those?
Should you be using them? 100%. Absolutely.
Okay, this works for both of them, but especially in the case of Dante. They don't stack.
No, yeah. Well, certain things don't stack. But like if you use, hold on, your audio's cutting out.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. So like Senku's dopings, like you can't
stack doping force and doping, I don't know, stamina or doping intelligence. And with Dante, you can't stack Royal Guard with Swordmaster.
The dopings you should absolutely be able to stack the dopings.
Really?
Yes, because all they do is they give you basic buffs, but it does multiple at a time. So I talked about before the brave buff or the aura buff, and those being things that you have. If you put doping force on a unit, it will give brave and whatever the hell this is called. I don't remember what it's called that buffs defense, but it gives you both of those buffs for casting one skill. But it's the same exact buff. So then you'll get 2 buff icons for that. If you then also hit the same unit with buff intelligence, this will give you the aura buff and the metis buff, which is for int and mind. And then they will have 4 total buffs applied to their character for casting 2 skills, or 2 spells. So for him, that works. Now Dante is different, and he is unique because his magic is just made to do something a bit different. His is supposed to be that you have different modes, and you swap between the modes depending on what you need for combat. So Swordmaster style is kind of his normal one, so if you just want to deal a lot of damage, it's the best one to have on. The other one that's usually really good is his Trickster style, because it gives you a chance to evade, which means he survives better, and it also gives you a cooldown rate on your skills, which is really good. So that will stack with auto haste. So he gets like plus, I don't know, 15%, plus 25, plus 50, I don't know, from his Trickster style. And then he also gets a 25% increase to his skill recharge from auto haste. And it ends up making it so that he can get skills back much quicker than he otherwise would, which is great. Another thing I would do for your physical damage dealers is teaching them all Proud Force from Icy Guardian, because it's so cheap. So getting this to level 3, which takes almost nothing. You can actually do that right now for almost nothing. We're going to do it because it's only level 3. But this will make it so that you don't need to rely entirely on Senku to heal. Your units will be able to kind of self-sustain, at least a little bit. And the more skills you get unlocked from them, like critical ups on Nero and things, you'll more reliably be able to use Proud Force in order to stay alive. And early on, it's huge. Oh, since you didn't know about different things that were hidden and stuff, are you still there, by the way? Hey,
but my phone died.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know where we were at and where I was talking to you and stuff.
Me either, because I panicked and my brain did shut off.
Okay. All right. Well, one thing that
we were talking about you were telling me that I should work on my support unit after I work on Nero.
Oh, okay, yeah. Then I'll try to catch up on all the other things. So, something else that I just wanted to show you, because you didn't know about hidden things before. All of the Ark artwork, as you level their ether, they have hidden goodies in them too. So, there's little sparkles here. If you view this, you can click on the arks, and they give you free shit.
What the
Every single arc. And some of them have like time gates, so like there's different animations within these. So you might have to wait for like a certain like thing to loop through on the animation, and then a sparkle might show up there or something. This one has one here. So you can click this, you can get some free stuff. So occasionally, not all the time, but occasionally run through your arcs, and if you've gained some ether, just go through and check, because you might have some free shit. And these could all be used to help you to enhance units and power up their skills. See, there's some glows there. Nothing on this one, but yeah, basically as arc ether increases, more sparkles show up on these things, and each one tends to have like 5 to 10 things in them, and SSRs have even more like bigger things, like you can actually get crystal clusters and things like that out of these. So
does the DMC mobile office have anything?
I think the limited ones maybe don't. Yeah, I think it probably doesn't. But this one does.
I would just like you to know that I did not know about this.
Look at that, 50 of these.
And I'm actually quite angry now.
because I could have saved so much time if I had just checked the arks. Also, why is Adis, however you say it,
Yeah.
why are they not explaining these things?
Because they're cool secrets for you to discover on your own.
Yeah, no. These are big helpful things that I could have been using this whole time.
Yeah, they sure are. They sure are.
Not little Easter eggs.
Yeah.
No.
It recreates that classic RPG feel where you need to kind of figure shit out and you're never really a master at everything.
Yeah, well, guess what? I'd rather not.
Yeah, I feel ya. There's a lot of things like that.
Point me in the right direction, and I'll figure it out on my own.
Yep.
Don't fucking thrust me into the world and say, all right, well, screw you. You're on your own.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, things are quite community driven, and the community is not super duper big because the game is not super massive. But we do have some people at least that make guides and things like that to be able to help. So, like I said before, I check out some of my videos. I have some that does that. Also, Buddha Fish, if you've never been on his channel, he makes a ton of guides. He's very, very good. So be sure to check those people out. And it also never hurts to just be on the Reddit and Discord and stuff. People are generally quite helpful. I hear people talk about things being really toxic in the community a lot, but I don't see it very often. Things are usually like 95% positive and helpful from my experience. But sometimes a couple bad people can make things annoying for others, but...
Yep.
Something else. If you're ever struggling with money, these bars that you can get from events and things...
Yeah, I know about those. You can sell them and get money.
Yeah, so you've got money.
I know something. I'm
You got it.
Intelligent.
Nailed it.
Yay.
Alright, sweet.
Wait, what are those tickets? I know that was really bad timing because I said it as soon
Tickets?
as you
Oh, these are tour tickets. So if you start a tour, you can instantly clear it. I wouldn't worry about tours. That's going to take way too much brain power for the minimal amount that it's worth right now. If you want...
I got brain power.
Now, if you're bored and you just want to try, it is worth doing, but I didn't start doing it for a long time. So basically...
Oh, tours. Oh, those. Oh, no, I don't like those.
Yeah, so basically, again, these are eventually worth unlocking. And...
What do they even give you?
It depends what you're on. Each of them do different things. So each of them have different things that increase the odds of you succeeding. So for here, it is a soldier type gives you a buff if it's a plant type, if they have at least 20% earth resist, if they're immune to poison, and if the unit is at least level 40. Those are all things that can get boosted. So Dante is currently pretty good for it. I can turn suitability on it. It says, okay, he's high enough level because he's over 40. He's a soldier, so he gets that, and his resistance to earth is high. These two are just here. He's not a soldier, so he just has level up on it.
So, question about that, actually.
What?
If you just made me remember something. The types, like soldier, god,
Yep.
Healer,
Yep.
whatever those are, sorcerer.
Yep.
What do those mean?
So
is it just like
yeah,
swords and such?
It does almost nothing. There's just niche cases where they are applicable. So the biggest place is tours. You can use them to jack up your ratings for things. In arena, types matter because there are units that have bonuses against certain types of enemies. So if you're a god type, they might have bonus damage against gods. So if you happen to be a god type, that's a thing that you just need to be aware of. The mimicries, the skills that say add this type to the user, they do not remove other types. They just add to it. So generally, they are just strictly worse. But in tours, it's a benefit, and then there's a couple of arcs that will say things like, oh, you get these effects while it's equipped, but if you're also a god type, you could get extra mana regen or something. So maybe on Senku, you could give him Mimicry God to make him be a god type, and then while he's using the arc, he'll get an extra little benefit out of the arc.
Oh.
So
is what is his name? The god that I have. I don't remember his name.
Luke Zayas.
Right, him.
Yes.
Luke.
Yes.
Is he the only god type in the game?
No, there's a ton of gods. There's a whole bunch of them.
Oh.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
just haven't seen them.
Yeah, you just don't have any other ones. Most of them are somewhat limited, I think. But there's, for instance, the last 2 units that came out, Baran and Rabala. They are a soldier and a sorcerer, but they come with a skill in their kit that gives them minus 20% damage taken from dark damage and makes them be a god type. So they are technically a god and a soldier or a sorcerer, inversely, but they can toggle it off because it's a skill in their skill kit. So you can choose to get rid of it, but then you also lose that 20% reduction to dark damage. So you kind of have to choose what things are for. So for me, because I know people have things that are extra effective against gods, when I'm in PvP, I'll actually turn those off and just accept that I'm taking extra dark damage so that they can't get extra slayer damage on me for being a god type.
Right.
So, just one extra thing to consider, but generally, for serious content, you usually just want your types to be whatever your normal type is and not be adding more, because usually it's only a negative. But for tours, it's nice to have available. So,
Got it.
like in this case, if you had a mimicry plant on all of these, they each get a plus extra 1 here, which would be nice. And then the more of these pluses you have, it increases your odds of success. The guy I mentioned, Budafish, he's actually done a tours guide that's very good. So you can totally check it out, and he'll give a much better overview than what I did. But the reason you want to do these is basically these have different levels. So right now it looks like you're already in level 5 of this first one, I assume. So whenever you complete these, all the different tours have different types of rewards. Some of them might give extra AP, so then you could use it to teach skills to people. It might give you a good amount of XP. Maybe it'll give you good souls. Maybe it'll just give you resource drops like crystals and little things like that, which at your stage in the game, getting those basically for free, or just the cost of like a little bit of souls to run at once, could be worthwhile. And then once you get through all 10 steps, you get a big reward of some sort at the end. Usually it's like a piece of gear, which at your stage in the game, the gear is probably pretty good. By endgame, when you have really good stuff, the gear is pretty much useless.
I just need to get through 10 stages, and I'm on number 5.
You're on 5, but they all have different challenges. So some of them it could take different things. So this says greatly succeed with a unit with level over 60. So this team would qualify for this condition of a level 60 unit, but you have to greatly succeed. You only have a 23% chance. So you run this, you wait the amount of time, 8 hours, you come back. If it's a normal success, you run it again until you hit great or grand, at which case you get a progress and go to the next step of the mission. And then it'll give you a new challenge, and a new one, and a new one. And then once all 10 are done, you'll unlock the next area, and then you can get 10 more challenges with a special piece of gear available. So this one, when you complete it, you get this sword, which for you, probably pretty good. 118 attack on a sword, and then if they're weak to, if you're attacking something they're weak against, you do just a flat 10% extra damage. It's pretty good. And it's lightning element. So if that matters at all, I guess. But, and the main thing is when you get through all of these rewards are all kind of blah. But eventually, when you've done everything, because it takes a long time, these last 2 stages have hella good returns on the shit that you get for them. I mean, it is stupid the amount of value here. But getting here will take you forever. Like, it'll take a very long time. So just be aware, it is a long-term stretch goal. It is nothing to super rush. But the more you can do, just like as a login ritual to just get one going, and like I said, you can do 1 every 8 hours, so you could potentially do 2, maybe 3 in a day if you're really good. And then these just unlock more teams for you to do it with, so you can get more units. The other thing that's kind of nice about it is it sort of adds value to a bunch of the garbage units that you're not going to use. Because you could be like, oh, well, I don't need this guy, but he is a soldier, and he does have 20% earth resist, so I guess he's good in this tour.
Right.
And another thing worth noting is when you're trying to hit those qualifications for things, all like gear and stuff goes into it, and this is a different pool of loadouts than your normal builds. So you're not going to ruin your Dante build for serious content if you come in here and steal stuff off of him. So if you come in and like say Zekis is at 15 earth resist instead of 20, or like he has this 10 and you need to be up to 15, we'll say. we can come into equip and we can say, okay, well, let's filter and see if we have anything with ice resist. All right, we don't have anything here. Let's come in here, see if there's anything with ice resist here. No, currently nothing. Let's see if there's any other examples of stuff. Yeah, you're pretty early, so there's not a lot of gear. It's not a lot of gear. You'll get more gear. Oh my god, there is nothing. We have nothing. We have no gear. Okay, so if we just come in here, we'll say, okay, say I only needed 5 more. Cool. I'll put a carbon fiber shield on Zekis, and now I'm at 25. Maybe he was at 20, but he needed 25 to get a +1. You can come in and do that. But that carbon fiber shield is still going to be on Senku or Nero or whoever you had it on in the normal game. So this is totally isolated, is the point. So, yeah, you won't break your stuff by coming in here and interfacing with this. It's just a little tedious to do because every time you move to a brand new zone, the things that give you bonuses are different. So it'll go from, oh, we want you to have, be nil in poison and have earth resist to, okay, well, now we want you to be resistant to fire and ice and silence, or we want you to be a dragon type or whatever. Right. But yeah, so fun stuff. But yeah, another thing that'll be cool for you is, since you have so much campaign to do, you have lots of crystals coming, which means you'll have lots of rolls, which means you'll have lots more arcs coming too, which is really great. So if I want to be super duper metagamey with you, what I would try to do is, if you were able to plow through so much campaign that you could get up to 30,000 crystals, you want to do this. From just a purely meta standpoint, because this lets you pity 2 units, and this is a special banner. This is hyper discounted. It is basically like 66% off. Normally, pitying units takes 90 pulls. This lets you do it in 30, and you get to pick and this lets you pick the unit you want from the limited banners. And not only that, but halfway through at 15,000, you also get a choice of a general pool unit. So you get to pity 2 units for 30,000, where it's normally 90,000. So it's not worth doing if you cannot actually hit 30,000. You have to hit pity for it to be worthwhile. But if you can get up to it, it's worth. So saving gems for these type of banners is good. This is the first time we've seen this one, so it's like a big deal.
And when did it go away?
This has 10 days left.
Okay.
There is something similar they've done one time that they should do again at some point, where basically you can pity arcs, and I think it was like 5,000 gems, I think maybe 15. I think it was 15k, so 5-10 pulls. So basically this much, and then you get an arc selection ticket. So for you would spend 15k and just go get Sandworm, and then it's now on your account. No RNG, no trying to just luck into it. You just get it, and they let you do it 3 times on that banner. So for 45k, you could have any 3 arcs you wanted and not have to luck into them, which is huge. So, and it's at much more of a discount than usual. So saving for things like that or collabs is usually where you want to be spending your stuff, especially since you have a pretty decent team now. And if you can get to that 30k mark, what I would get is 2 very specific units. So one, some people like to get farming units to help farming just be better. Because Beast Hunter's so good, I don't think it's that necessary. And from like a overall account perspective, I think you're better off doing something different. So if you ended up getting up to 30k and doing this, I suggest getting Merity. She is naturally a neutral damage DPS, which means you could run her alongside Nero, and she will always be doing minimum full damage to everything, because she doesn't have to worry about resistances. She's also one of the most powerful breaking units in the game, for like reducing enemy break bar.
So I would run her, Nero, and who?
Senku. Well,
okay.
Yeah, I mean, depending on the actual content that you're in. If you did this, though, the other unit that you would get is Theria, who is basically the most broken support in the game. Now, luckily, she does different things than Senku does. You could technically run Theria to basically make it so you never die ever in any content. for the most part. And then you have Senku be your support buffer and debuffer. So basically, Theria, she has all of the best survivability spells in the game baked into her kit, and she's also by far the best healer in the game. In addition to a bunch of other cool stuff she does. She does things like she innately just senses the enemy types, and based on the most common enemy type you're facing, it gives you a flat minus 20% damage taken from that type to your entire team.
What?
She makes your entire team, as long as she exists, completely immune to fainting, which is when they stop moving and have yellow stars over their head. You're immune. You get to ignore the game mechanic 100% completely just by existing.
Okay.
Every time she...
Also, I see something on a lot of the friend supports.
Yeah.
That's Syria.
Her?
Something called the no attribute wall.
Sure. Yeah. I don't know. I don't run it on her, but there's walls for all the different like elements and things, and it's just a flat like 20% damage reduction if you're facing an enemy that does that type of damage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the other thing she does that's really big is she cuts the cost of all of her support and healing spells, and every time she applies healing to an ally, they also get a 1,000 point barrier that absorbs damage and prevents flinching until that barrier gets popped. So you stop taking damage and can no longer be flinched until you're dealt 1,000 damage. And then if she heals them again, they get another free barrier. If she's constantly healing, then she just
Character.
What's that?
So this is one interesting character.
She's busted beyond belief. She is the most OP character. Like Luke Zayas at his peak can do the most damage of anyone. Theria will raise the power level of an account probably 5 times more than somebody like Luke will. She is super broken. Though she just keeps people alive and makes you cheat. She's basically like anybody that spent a ton of money and wailed in order to get her on the account. They basically spent hundreds, potentially thousands of dollars to install the easy button on their account, which I would argue makes the game less fun. Like, it doesn't feel... There's certain challenges in the game where when you have a Theria that has her full ability board unlocked, you don't have to try at a lot of content anymore. Like, you just can't die until you get into, like...
that bad?
Until you get into, like, hyper endgame, super high tier stuff. Like, she is that good. She is really busted good. But, much like you've seen with other characters, if you do get her, it's still going to take you a long time to build her. And she's not good when she has nothing unlocked. It's all about getting the ability board unlocked. But
once you get the ability board unlocked, you become literal god.
Yeah. And she's great because she comes with literally everything she needs. There's things you can do to like increase her survivability and teach her things so that you can use her SC. But if you have her full board unlock, she does literally everything you want her to do at base, and you can stop building her for a while. And then just later on go and teach her skills and level up arcs to teach her stuff. But otherwise, she just comes with everything.
It sounds like a character I need.
Yeah, she's pretty good. She will keep people alive much better than Senku. He's meant to be... So, Senku, to me, is meant to be like the ultimate utilitarian mage. Like, he has stuff where he can debuff people, which, also, if you focus on one thing with him... I would say try to get his super bad chemical. Where is it? Where is super bad chemical?
Isn't super bad chemical Gen?
Yes, but he has it too. It's the only debuff.
Oh, okay.
It's the only debuff that he has. Oh, is it a top tier skill? It might be a top tier skill. Oh, it is. Never mind. You're going to be a long ways out to get that. But when you can get it, it'll be good, because the greatly reduced attribute resistances just means that if you're running with like Lug and Dante and whatever, and you don't have Trish yet, this reducing resistances by 35% just means those units will straight up be doing 35% more damage if they have this debuff on them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if you're struggling on a boss, you throw this on, and then all of a sudden Dante and Lug and Nero, if you don't have Trish yet, are just going to be doing more damage.
Right.
So, yeah, it's pretty great. It's one of the best debuffs in the game. Gen's great because he's got the equip. Yeah, he's got the same thing Gen does, except for stats as well. Basically, the doping skills that Senku has, Gen has the inverse of the doping that he can throw on enemies. So Senku buffs, Gen debuffs. So Senku can be buffing your team, though, and fueling them to be better, while Theria can just be keeping them alive and healing them. Until then, one of the things that you will want to get on Senku, if you do not work your way up to getting Theria via Pity, is you'll want him to know God Heal. It's the most key healing spell in the game, and it comes on Kaladina because this is the great
time stop heal, right?
Yeah, because this is the greatest arc in the game. It also has instant cast speed, so you don't have to build any cast speed on him, and it just happens instantaneously. So it's a big deal. So yeah, this getting up to level 10 will be pretty huge, because then you can teach God Heal to him. You can also teach him Fast Magic Circle, which will just give him some more recharge on his skills. Which actually, what level is this at? 4? I know for a fact this flips from blue, and it's going to start taking red souls at some point. Which you're capped on red souls, so you should use them so you can keep gaining more. I might... Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. Let's do this, though. Red souls. Let's see what you currently have that can be upgraded. Because you should be using your red souls so they can be recharged. You have to raise your cap. Because you can't even level some of your stuff anymore. This? Do you have enough for this? Oh, it's so expensive. Why is this so expensive? God damn it.
Yeah.
You're trying. You're trying. It's just so hard. It's so hard to level this shit, dude. Okay.
What gave you that idea?
Yeah, I know. I remember. I'm glad I don't have to deal with it anymore. And eventually you won't care either. Eventually you're going to have problems. Right now my biggest issue is if you're overcapped on souls, you can't collect arena rewards because they give you souls and mother souls. So I need to run max level arcs to just waste souls so that I can go collect arena rewards every day. Because I don't need because I don't use souls for anything. I'm just max capped all the time. Because I'm not building any arcs, like everything's max ether, like I don't have anything else to do. So it just sits there and is an inconvenience for me. So I'll just run level 10 arcs and just burn through souls because it's easier and I need to get rid of stuff. But you are capped here, so you should at least be upgrading some of this stuff. So let's see some of these that might be worthwhile. These won't matter. Fast Brave should be on your DPS units, which I assume...
Wait. Maybe, Flame High Boost would be good for Dante. Oh, right, I'm not running Dante anymore.
Yeah, well, and also, important to note, fire magic damage.
Oh!
So this does not matter at all for him. Eventually, like, we could start leveling this up so eventually you can get Awakened, but you still need to raise the cap before it actually matters. So let's look for things that you can actually use now that could be beneficial. So this is already leveled, so that doesn't matter. Oh, this is what we'll do. We'll check this list so that I can see what skills are coming on these. For when you're in an actual game, recast. You want to teach recast to Senku. This gives you that buff I was telling you about. Yeah, Lube comes with it. Right? Yeah, this only costs 2 to put on, so you can put this on Senku and then start using his magic, and it's going to cast probably 50% quicker, just outright. By itself. Like getting a plus 30% is huge. Like I said, the 30% isn't really an exact 30%. Like if it takes 10 seconds to cast, it doesn't mean it's going to make it exactly 7 seconds to cast. It's more so like there's a proportional amount of time compared to what it requires the casting speed of the spell to be. And the closer you are to there, the more it narrows a gap. Maybe that's really confusing. Makes sense in my head, but yeah.
No, I understand it, at least somewhat.
So each thing has a certain requirement, and the closer you are to it, the quicker you'll cast.
Right.
Yeah. So recast. So teach that to Senku, but we don't need to level that up though. So that's cool. Giga Drain. This is a good support spell. So actually, for level 3, that's probably not too bad to get. You could put this on Senku, and he suddenly becomes a debuffer. This Giga Drain, the Giga means all enemies, so you can use this at the start of a round. It takes no cast speed because support magic is always instant, and this will just do a flat minus 20% defense to all enemies on the board for 40 seconds. So that'll just make it easier for Nero and Dante and Lug, whoever, to just eat through enemies. So, and this one also has high-level magic chant on it, which could be the source. This is actually cheaper than the other one I showed you. So that's where we're going to throw your red souls right now, is leveling up this guy, this hidden treasure. Because you have to use souls anyway right now, so we'll just be leveling arcs. When it comes to souls, blue souls should be going into, for the most part, leveling up your red soul spots. Red souls are only used for leveling arcs and teaching skills, which means when you get a lot of them, you can safely, put them into your arcs and not worry about it.
Right.
Whereas if you're leveling up blue arcs a ton and just dropping like 100,000 or more per upgrade, you're missing out on a lot of upgrades to other things like your red soul spots. So blue's for investing until you get all of them leveled up a bit. Red you can have fun with. So filtering by red to determine how you spend things, very good. Oh, this is beautiful. You're going to have enough. You can get both of these. So you want to do the training dungeon on Senku for both of these. This would be sweet. Because level 6, yeah, this is really cheap. This doesn't even use that many souls to use, too. Beautiful. It's also worth noting as you level up arcs, there are rewards hidden in them, these, so you can get gems. So I think levels 4, 7, and 10 are gem drops. So that'll get you closer to more pulls or for leveling up some of your other passive stuff too. Sweet. So now, high-level magic chant, that 20% cast speed we were talking about, is now available to you. You put that on Senku. You give him Giga Drain, too. You can also do Blazer if you're getting hit really hard. Blazer is just a single target, but it's a minus 20% to their strength, which can help quite a bit. You wouldn't think 20% would do much, but the way that damage calculation works in this game, debuffs are immensely powerful. So even using the most basic ones are really strong. So using his doping skills on your allies and then putting debuffs on the opponents, on all of your enemies, it's huge. It's going to be a big deal. And you're going to have a good time.
Very, very good time.
Yeah. So
Happy, fun.
Yes. All right. So then this guy is going to be on filter. Where are we looking here? There. Hidden treasure. Sweet. There. So, next time you're on skill training, do that. Let's see. You still have some red, though. I wonder if there's other stuff to be run that would be worth leveling as well. Because maybe we can power up your Nero/Dante a bit more. Machine Killer. This can be okay. It could give you magic up too to start getting Senku's damage up there, but we'll focus mostly on damage dealers, I think, first. Mirror Rain, Proud Force. Yeah, you already have access to Proud Force early on, which is a big win. HP up 2 could help just have a little bit of extra HP. Also, Allure could be good, potentially. It's only level 4 to put it on. Increases your monster attractiveness, which means the AI is more likely to target that enemy. So where you were talking about how Nero feels bad because you have to chase enemies down and he feels really clunky and they just run away or they're really far away. If you put Allure on him, it will make them more likely to target him when they are doing attacks. And then inversely, I don't know if you have something for it, but there's something called Reject, and it is the complete... Okay. Oh, right here. Cavern Ale. This has Reject. You can put this on Senku, and it makes them less likely to attack him. So it will be less often that Senku gets targeted by the enemies, and more often they're just going to funnel in and try to go in on Nero, like a pipe bomb in Left 4 Dead. And then when people are all stacked on top of him, he can start doing some cleave damage and hitting more things instead of having to run around, hit everybody individually, and having things be scattered around.
Okay.
So that's something that you could do as well. Let's see if, you have some stuff. So let's see if we can just level these, and we will get that so that you have some different stuff to be training people on. Like I said, Caladina will be a good one as well, because that flips over to using red souls. There's some arcs that when you get them to like level 5, 6, or 7, they'll stop using blue and go over to red. And that's a very happy surprise when it happens, because then it's much more fun. Because your red you can actually use for stuff without feeling too bad about it.
Right.
Allure, here it is, Allure. Yeah, let's go ahead and get that one updated for you. Well, hopefully you have, through all of this word vomit and, drinking from the knowledge hose, hopefully you have a bit of a better understanding of at least some of the things. I know there is a lot to this game, and there's even more that isn't explained. But,
You've helped me so much. I understand so much more now.
That's good. And you probably know about 10 to 20% of the game, which is good.
That is uplifting and absolutely horrifying at the same time.
Yeah. Luckily, you can kind of learn things at your own pace, and as long as things are working, you're fine without knowing some other stuff, because it's really easy to get overwhelmed. And one of the things, since I know you haven't seen many of my videos, I have a new player video as well, about just dealing with being overwhelmed because there's so much shit, and I kind of go through all the different crap you can focus on, and I'm like, ignore this completely, ignore this, do this stuff, this matters most, you can worry about this later, blah blah blah. And we've gone over a lot of that. We went over a lot of that today, so I don't know if there's going to be much new stuff, but there might be something that you can glean from it, so I'd recommend checking it out just to see if there's anything else there for that. Alright, so then we're going to go ahead and put Cavern Ale on this guy now. Or whatever that was. Grand Bargain. Yeah, so then he can get a lure and HP up so that he can have a bit of a bigger health pool for fighting stuff. He's getting skill charge. So then once he learns skill charge 1, put it over on Nero so he can get skill charge 1. Level up. Eventually, like I said, get Caladina leveled up so that you can get skill charges. Let's stop filtering this. Caladina. Yeah, if I knew it flipped at 5, I would flip it. But I don't know if it does. So it'll feel bad. You still have to get through campaign, though. See, this is where it feels hard. Because, 140,000 blue souls on an arc level up is pretty rough. But also, skill charge 2 is amazing.
Yeah, I kind of do want that skill.
All right, you know what? We're gonna try it. Nope, we're gonna need one more upgrade.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, so I'm guessing at 6 it flips. So yeah, unfortunately, not able to flip it quite yet. But when you get up to 230,000, it might be worth to put it on there and then just use skill dungeons to teach it. Still, trying to level up your red soul spots is good, but that will help you do more damage with both Nero and Dante. I'm pretty sure it makes it so that at the beginning of each wave, the 20 seconds that it gives is minimum 1 charge of your S2, which means you get to instantly dash onto a target with Dante or instantly pull someone to you with Nero.
Right.
So it's pretty big. It's a pretty big deal. All right. Do you have any other questions before we conclude here?
I don't think I do.
Sweet. All right. Well, you're in the Discord, so if you have other questions between me and other people in there, there's people that are even smarter than me in the Discord. I just know the stuff that I have from playing for over a year and a half, but there's some veteran players in the Discord that have some crazy stuff. They've beaten all the endgame content with monster units, which are meme trash units that you get for free. So
Oh, okay.
These. So down here, when you collect monster souls from killing them, when you collect 50 souls of these little doggos, you can technically unlock him as a character to use in game.
Oh.
And they're all really awful, except these two with the last round of updates, these two both got buffs, and the rest will eventually get buffs as well. Some of them are really niche though. DXR is actually crazy good for a certain build because his auto attacks are insane. So you can make builds where he's just really good at applying ailments, like Baby V, basically. He can like insta-kill stuff and apply ailments to things. Sagin technically has like the biggest ice damage debuff in the game. He can do like a minus 50% debuff that stacks with a normal elemental debuff. So like they have weird quirky little things. Gobble can like insta-kill enemies that others can't and like instantly break things with like a bomb that he throws. But they're basically
they're good, but
they're
only very particular.
Yeah, they're basically hyper niche, and only the most end game of top tier end game players could probably make them worthwhile. But eventually, you want to get them because a few updates back, one of the most biggest updates that we've had in the game, Adis added like 5 or 6 new end game bosses. One of them only lets you use monster units.
Oh, no.
So your entire team is limited to monster units, and I'm like, oh, thank you. This is beautiful. This is a great thing.
This is not beautiful.
This is so good. I haven't even done it yet. I just haven't bothered to go and try, but I'm excited to do it because like, it's
when
one of those.
Do it, you better post a YouTube video. I want to see.
Yeah, I mean, many other people have done it as well. There's a lot of good stuff out there, but maybe I'll record my first run, but. Yeah, it's just one of those things where, like, you were talking about how it's concerning that they put really broken things in limited areas, but for the most part in this game, nothing is required. Like, Theria is probably the most arguable thing for, like, mandatory characters because she just makes things so easy, but you can still complete everything in the game without Theria. She just makes it easier. Everything else in the game, there's alternatives for. There's limited things that might make niche cases, like it could be a best in slot for, and you could do certain things, but you can do everything in the game with non-limited stuff. Like, nothing has been scaled and balanced around only limited units.
Understood.
Yeah, and there's some as well that are just really, like, some current units are just stupid good, like before Rabila and Baran and Golroth, because Golroth is really blah. Medine is one of the strongest units in the game, and she's in the general pool. Like, you could just pull her randomly off like a random ticket or whatever. From like these, just general, just general pool. She's one of my favorite units in the entire game, and she's stupid good. Merity that I told you, Merity is one of the best units in the game, and she's in the generic pool of units. So like, yeah, there's a lot of people that you can get just innately that's good. So like Yashimaru, if you get him, he's a farm unit. You could choose to build him for that if you want. Lukiel is really good. She's like a mage / physical damage support hybrid. Logia is V before V existed. Like, V is the power-crept version of Logia, and Logia is still super legit. Like, you don't need him because you have other DPS units anyway. But, basically, Logia does earth damage, and he applies status ailments, and every time he applies an ailment to an enemy, he gets a bunch of cooldown on all his skills. So he goes into combat, and he starts just applying debuffs to enemies, and then he instantly just gets charges of skills and just starts spamming skills over and over and over again. So, like, Logia, arguably, probably better than Nero for an account like yours that's super fresh. Like, if you maxed out Logia versus maxing out Nero, Logia might just do more, just on the basis of he can fuel himself to spam abilities instead of just regular attacks in his downtime. Like, it's really good, but he's just a generic unit that you can use. He's been power crept a bit, and there's a lot of other tools in the game to like help people get skill charges back and things like that. So he's not as valuable, and like V, as I said, is basically just the way more OP version of him. But he'll probably be getting buffs as well, since a bunch of units are getting buffs these days. But yeah, pretty much all the rest of these down here. These are in order of when they were released. All of them are really trash. So when you get them, they don't really matter. They're all getting more buffs, though. Like, some of these were recently buffed, but they're still just kind of fine. And you have good units already, so you don't really need them. But basically, Celios up is competent. Logia up is actually good. Except Shin, he's kind of just for PvP, and even then he's kind of whatever. For these units, these first three you see are basically the main targets for what you'd pick. Theria is number 1, and then I would say followed by Zekis and then Lilibet. She's a physical damage dealer and debuffer. He is a physical / magic dealing hybrid. He's basically Senku. For the most part, like, he supports, he does magic, except he's got, like, more survivability and some other unique stuff, and his skills actually do stupid amounts of damage, too. Whereas...
And he's not a wet paper towel?
He's the opposite of a wet paper towel. He is, like, hyper tanky for a mage. Yeah.
That is something that I need.
Yeah, so, like, he's super good, but Theria is still better. So, like, if you want him, you wouldn't be mad at having him. Like, if I had saved up 30k and was ready for this banner like a smart person instead of being an idiot and just dropping every time I hit 3k because I have no willpower to save, I would have him on my account. I would absolutely, for somebody that has been in the game for a long time, I want him because I don't have Theria, or because I already have Theria. So Theria is number 1, then Zekis, then Lilibet. So yeah, if you can get 30k, I recommend getting Theria. You don't need her, though, and especially if you just don't want an easy button, you can just get Zekis, because Zekis is crazy good, too. Though, if you get Zekis, the only negative is he kind of just makes Senku irrelevant, I think, because they do so many similar things. Like, he can be your rainbow mage, he can be kind of a supporty character, which is sort of what, Senku does with, like, buffs and sort of keeping people alive. You can make him kind of magey. Yeah, he's just kind of better Senku. But Theria is a bit of a shift, so like the buffs she provides to your team don't really overlap with Senku, so they can both kind of exist and then just fuel your one really good unit and a friend unit or something. So you could run both supports and be totally good. So that's what I recommend from a high-level meta perspective, is get Theria, run with Senku, and then one DPS unit, like Nero with Trish. And yeah. And also go on and beg for high-level people to add you as friends so you can get a few power people. You can use everybody once a day. Once you use them, they're gone. But if you basically get a free clear of whatever you're on, it's nice to have that in your account pocket.
Question.
Yeah.
When is login or date change?
I think it depends on time zone. For me, it is 2 p.m.
So then it'd be 3 p.m. for me.
I think so. Yeah.
So
that's when. So it has a couple of different things. New banners will usually come out at like somewhere between, I think it's like 2 a.m. So we need to look at this. So like this is 10 days and 2 hours, which for me says 1 a.m. So banner shifts actually happen at 1 a.m. The daily reset of things like collecting your game. There we go. Okay. Things like gifting your friends. So like gifting and collecting your friend things, that's what happens at 1. So most of the resets, your daily missions are actually different. Your arena wins reset at 1 or 3. 3 is your time. But your daily missions, as well as any new training events that are like limited per day, those reset at like 10 a.m. my time, which would be 11 for you. I don't know why they do that.
Oh.
I just don't know why. But yeah, so if we look at this timer right here, probably 11 for your time. So your dailies and the skill and the training dungeons reset at 11. Most other daily stuff that you can do resets at 3. And then 1 or 2 in your case is when banners change. So I don't know why they're all split up. I'm guessing it's a programming thing. They've shifted over time. I think it used to be a time zone different for me. Like reset was 9 o'clock and 1 o'clock and midnight, but now they're 1 hour ahead. So I don't know what the reason was for that. But it happened. Maybe there was like daylight savings, but they didn't respect it or something. And then it'll jack me up later in the year. I don't know. But yeah, things are weird. So that's
quite an interesting game.
Yeah. I've seen some others that have a similar thing where like banners are usually reset at midnight and then dailies are reset at like maybe 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. But for some reason this has 3 resets and I don't know why, all for different things. So It's a little annoying. I've gotten used to it, so like it's kind of just into my daily workflow. Like I'll start work, and then maybe my first break of the day, I'll go on and do a little bit of daily stuff because like maybe daily missions have reset or something, and then get on in the afternoon after like 2, and then I'll be like, all right, I'll get a couple arena wins and just get, collect friend things so that my daily missions can be done, and then whatever, use some of the event orbs and stuff. But yeah, I'm rambling again. So we
No, you're
yeah, feel free, like I said, come into the Discord if you got any more questions, or to Reddit. Somebody will be able to help you. Also other Discords as well. Budafish, the creator that I keep talking about, he has his own Discord, and it's much, much bigger than mine. He's actually got mods and everything in there. So they have a big community going in his, and the official LC Discord is pretty big as well. So you should always be able to find some sort of answers somewhere. But, alright. Well, as they say, go forth and murder things.
I shall, sir. Thank you for all your help.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You have a nice night. Have a good 4th.
You too.